Mets on Deck is brought to you by Subaru. Come see the new generation of Subaru, the 1990 Legacy, at your local Subaru dealers. And by Gold Star. Gold Star, the brightest star in electronics.
Hello again, everybody. I'm Fran Healy at Shea Stadium in Flushing, New York, and this is Mets on Deck. Today, the Mets take on the Pirates in the final game of this three-game series. On the mound for the Mets, Sid Fernandez, and on the mound for the Pirates, Jeff Robinson. Now let's jump in our Subaru and cruise around the major leagues. First stop, St. Louis, Missouri, where Jose Aquindo had his 23-game hitting streak snap last night. In fact, the Cardinals beat the Cubs 2-0. Jose Aquindo was on deck when the Cardinals made the final out in the bottom of the eighth inning. And speaking of hitting streaks, in the junior circuit, Ozzie Guillen, shortstop with the Chicago White Sox, and Robin Yount, center fielder with the Milwaukee Brewers, continued their hitting streaks. They're at 16. Now let's go to Kansas City, where the Kansas City Royals place Bo Jackson on the 15-day disabled list with a strained quadricep. The Royals really struggling this year. In fact, their big three, George Brett, Danny Tartabull, and Bo Jackson, have only appeared in 16 games together. Speaking of the disabled list, big bad blow really for the Cleveland Indians. Greg Swindell, who's 13-3, was placed on the 15-day disabled list. He has strained ligaments in his left arm. And again, on the disabled list, Gary Redus of the Pittsburgh Pirates. The Pirates in New York, they announced they're placing Gary Redus on the 15-day disabled list. On Sunday, he was struck by a pitch from Tim Cruz, the Dodger right-hander. It struck him in the face, and his left eye is swollen. So a 15-day disabled list for Gary Redus. Now on to the scores from last night in baseball. Philadelphia Phillies just nipping the Montreal Expos 4-3 despite Tim Wallach's 8th home run of the season for the Expos. And the Padres over the Reds. The Reds' losing streak is now at 10 games. Despite because of a home run by Dale Murphy, his 9th of the season with 2 men aboard, the Braves nipping the Giants 5-4. And the Houston Astros hammering the Dodgers 6-2. How about Mike Scott, 16-5? He's the first 16-game winner in the National League. And I mentioned the Cardinals over the Cubs 2-0. Vince Coleman now is 50 for 50 in stolen bases. Now on to the American League. The New York Yankees losing to the Cleveland Indians 9-7. Polonia hit his 3rd home run in that ball game for the Yankees, but he struggled in the outfield playing left field for the Yankees yesterday. How about Nick Osaski of the Boston Red Sox, his 16th home run of the season against the Kansas City Royals. Willie Wilson for the Royals had 3 hits in that ball game. Final score, Royals 7, the Boston Red Sox 4. And in Minnesota, Kent Hrbek hit 2 home runs in the game, and the Minnesota Twins over the Baltimore Orioles, who are struggling right now. And of course, it was a 5-4 score. So the Minnesota Twins nipping the Orioles last night. The Milwaukee Brewers, I mentioned Robin Yount, 16-game hitting streak. Well, he hit his 12th home run of the year in that ball game as they beat the Tigers 3-2. Ward hit his 5th home run in the game. The Chicago White Sox playing good baseball. In fact, playing excellent baseball since the All-Star break. Got past the Seattle Mariners 5-3. Alvin Davis hit his 9th home run of the season for the Mariners. And Harold Baines, his 13th home run of the year for the White Sox. In Texas, Buechele hit his 9th home run. Palmeiro hit his 7th home run. The Texas Rangers clobbered the Toronto Blue Jays 11-1. And out west, the Oakland A's winning the 3rd game of that 3-game series against the California Angels 9-5. Ricky Henderson hit his 7th home run of the year in that ball game for the Oakland A's. Stay with us. When we come back, we're going to talk to you about a legend. Welcome back to Shea Stadium. I'm Fran Healy, and you're watching Mets on Deck. And of course, here at Shea Stadium, since 1962, the Mets franchise has had some interesting legends. None more interesting than this guy. Let's watch. Casey Stengel, a baseball legend who helped shape the early days of Mets baseball with his incomparable personality. The old professor was indeed a one-of-a-kind original Met. He managed New York for the first 4 years of their existence, and despite the club's failures, Casey delivered many delicious monologues, including his description of Mets fans' unwavering spirit.
They're on the streets, they're carrying placards, they're going through the place. You can find them over here in right field. 4 innings later, if you get a base hit, they'll be over on the left field line. They make up wonderful placards. The placards are terrific. I even have to stop and look at them. I think I made 15 mistakes this year reading the placards instead of watching the pitcher or watching the hitter to take my men out. And then they have that effeminate feel, too, the Mets have. Our players, you know, look into the stand and have a graceful walk when they go up to the plate. And when they come back, if they get a home run, they know they come in there and everybody bows to them and pats them on the back.
Stengel was quite a showman, and when the Mets finally fielded a winner, Casey whipped up some amazing observations.
And this year, I want you to follow them. They'll be known in all the periodicals because they'll be in South America. New Year's Day will be their best game. This year will get over in a hurry because the other clubs have to be strengthened more if they're going to do anything to surprise the amazing, amazing Mets.
They had 1 million of them.
This is a Longines watch. This is going to be one of the greatest presents that I ever saw. Let's take a look at it. If you don't want to use this watch, remember Christmas is coming.
Stengel was quite a card. But in addition to his high-stepping personality, he won over 1,000 games as a Met and Yankee manager. You can look it up. Well, they love Casey here in New York. He managed the Mets and the Yankees. And by the way, he also managed the Boston Braves, and they ran the poor guy right out of Boston. Stay with us. When we come back, we'll have some Met notes. Back here at Shea Stadium, I'm Fran Healy, and you're watching Mets on Deck. And now on to the Met Notes, brought to you by Gold Star. Of course, I told you about the game here this afternoon, the Pirates and the Mets. And then the Mets will fly to Chicago for a big 3-game series against the Cubs starting on Friday. You can catch all the action right here on SportsChannel, that Friday game against the Cubs. And then off to St. Louis for a 4-game series against the Cardinals. Now for some more Met notes. The rumor is still swirling around here at Shea Stadium concerning Frank Viola. It has not been denied by the general manager of the New York Mets, Frank Cashen, and also I believe has been confirmed by the Minnesota Twins that there have been talks between the Mets and the Minnesota Twins. Now we're going to go downstairs to Rusty Staub, who has a special guest.
Thanks, Fran. Mel Stottlemyre, a lot of things happening now with the pitching rotation, most of it caused by Dwight Gooden. Can you tell us where Dwight is right now?
Well, Dwight is just at the start of a program similar to what we would have at the start of spring training. Aside from going on the mound, he's going to be throwing 15 to 20 minutes of play and catch every day. I'll do the throwing with him, and I'll try to monitor him and keep him down as much as I can. And he's scheduled to have his arm reevaluated at a point in time, probably around the 1st of August, something like that. So we'll low-key it pretty much. He will try to throw every day, and we'll throw as his arm feels better. We'll throw a little bit harder.
Now, Dwight Gooden was throwing in a different position, trying to get the ball to the plate a little quicker in his stretch. That's something y'all were working on. Now, I've heard that there's rumors that he's going to stop doing that because they think that might be the reason why he hurt his arm. Is that true?
Well, the rumors that he's going to stop doing it are true. Whether that had anything to do with his arm stiffness, I really can't answer that question. I've had a lot of calls and a lot of letters, concerning that, and we are going to change. But my main reason for changing him is because, number one, we tried to do that to try to make him a little faster to home plate and found that his time still was very similar to what it was the other way. So we're going to go back and have his hands drop a little lower and in closer to the body where he is a little bit more relaxed from the stretch position. But the primary reason I'm doing it is I'd been warned by a couple umpires that he was very close to being illegal anyway. You have to have your hands below the head so it is considered in front of the body, and he was right on the borderline. So that's the number one reason. Surprisingly enough, I was going to change this anyway very soon, prior to the time that we had to take him out of the rotation, but it seems like a good time to do it now.
With that 4-man rotation, Wally Whitehurst, we've heard that he might have an opportunity to start, maybe even this week.
Well, we're looking at Saturday for someone to start, either Wally Whitehurst or David West, and I think it'll depend on how Davey Johnson uses them up to that particular day. We don't know exactly who it's going to be right now. Perhaps maybe we might lean toward Wally Whitehurst since it is Chicago and they do have more predominantly right-handed hitters.
Have you been doing anything special with David West after the 2 tough outings he had as a starter?
Spent a lot of time talking to him and trying to work a little bit with his mechanics, try to sharpen him up a little bit so that he's a little more relaxed and he gets that finishing touch with his fastball. His fastball has been fairly straight in his 2 starts he's had, yet when he comes in out of the bullpen, he seems to be relaxed. His ball has great movement, so we're trying to get that consistent movement back, but it's just a small mechanical thing.
Thanks for spending a little time with us, Mel. Back to you, Fran.
Okay, Rusty, stay with us. Coming up next here at Shea Stadium, the Pirates and the Mets. Catch all the action right here on Sports Channel. Live from Shea Stadium in Flushing, New York, Sports Channel presents New York Mets baseball. Today, the Mets take on the Pittsburgh Pirates. Hello again, everybody. I'm Fran Healy, along with Ralph Kiner and Rusty Staub. We'll be bringing you the play-by-play from Shea Stadium as the Mets take on the Pirates. And the last game of this 3-game series has not been a good series for the Mets. And today, Ralph Kiner, the Mets are facing a relief pitcher.
Well, he's a converted relief pitcher. He certainly has a good record as a relief pitcher, a hard-working man, and now in a starting rotation pressed into that. And he throws a split-finger fastball, so we can look for the action of that pitch going down. Jeff Robinson.
Jeff Robinson, number 49 on your screen. And, of course, in the other bullpen warming up is Sid Fernandez. And Sid Fernandez almost traded during the offseason. His name was bandied about, but he's been one of the stoppers on a New York Met ball club this year.
Sid has probably pitched the best baseball of any Mets pitcher here in the last 5 or 6 weeks. He has come on strongly in the course against Atlanta. He struck out 16 batters in 8 innings and then lost that ball game on a home run by Lonnie Smith, but the most strikeouts in baseball this year by any pitcher.
And the Mets are losing to the Pirates last night, but I guess just as big a loss up in Montreal. The Phillies beating the Montreal Expos, really a big break for the Mets.
Well, the Montreal Expos were 1 strike away from winning that ball game, and they lost it to Philadelphia, and the Cubs also lost yesterday, so the Mets didn't lose any ground. They're 4.5 games back.
So 4.5 games back. The final game against the Pirates this afternoon. It'll be Jeff Robinson on the mound for the Pirates, Sid Fernandez on the mound for the Mets. Stay with us. When we come back, we'll give you the lineups.
New York Mets baseball is brought to you by Bud Light. Everything else is just delight. By your Toyota dealer. Whatever car or truck you choose, you'll love the quality. Who could ask for anything more? By Texaco, star of the American road. By Manufacturers Hanover, the financial source worldwide. By your New York, New Jersey, Fairfield County Buick dealer. By TWA, today's TWA. Find out how good we really are. By GE, from satellites to medical systems, we bring good things to light. And by Tri-State Jeep Eagle. See your Tri-State Jeep Eagle dealer where you can expect the best.
Well, back here live at Shea Stadium, you're looking at the Commissioner of Baseball, Abe Bartlett Giamatti, watching the game along with the President of the National League, Bill White. Bill, an outstanding player with the Cardinals and a fine broadcaster with the New York Yankees, and not a bad tennis player. In fact, a pretty good tennis player. Bart Giamatti grew up in South Hadley, Massachusetts. His father was a college professor at Mount Holyoke College. Beautiful school there in South Hadley, Mass. Bart Giamatti, a longtime Red Sox fan. And you're looking at the Pirates lineup today. John Cangelosi leading off, to be followed by Jose Lind and then Jeff King. The middle three, Bobby Bonilla, Barry Bonds, and R.J. Reynolds. And the bottom three, Junior Ortiz, Rafael Belliard, and then Jeff Robinson.
And on the mound for the Mets, Sid Fernandez with a record of 8-3 and earned run average of 2.66. That is 9th in the National League. And he has worked a total of 122 innings, giving up 85 hits, allowing 46 walks and striking out 109. The opposition hitting 192 against Sid this year, and that is the best record in the major leagues.
And the defense for the Mets, Magadan, Jeffries, Elster, and Johnson in the infield. Reynolds, Samuel, Strawberry in the outfield, and Sasser behind the plate. And Tommy Agee in the stands also. So some dignitaries in the stands today. Boy, he had some fine years with the New York Mets. Tommy Agee, of course, Rookie of the Year with the Chicago White Sox. If you get a chance, take a look at this week's edition of Mets Inside Pitch on SportsChannel. Nice feature on Tommy Agee. Tommy, when he was with the Chicago White Sox, I read about a year ago that he was almost traded to the Boston Red Sox for Carl Yastrzemski. Tom Yawkey stopping that deal, and of course, Carl Yastrzemski inducted into the Hall of Fame last Sunday.
Carl, the first Little Leaguer to ever go into the Hall of Fame.
He was a big baseball, basketball star out in Bridgehampton on Long Island. A lot of our subscribers out there. But we have a beautiful day for a ball game here at Shea Stadium. I mentioned Bill White here, and Bill, a tennis player. They tell me, Mr. Kiner, I know you were a tennis player, they tell me the best tennis player is Dr. Bobby Brown.
Well, he isn't anymore. He's got a bad wheel. He's barely able to move around. I think he did hurt it while playing tennis, but he was a good player.
And Bill White.
I'll take Richie Ashburn over.
Will you?
You better believe it.
You know, I understand he's also a very good tennis player since he stopped playing baseball. Joe Morgan. He's supposed to be ranked number 7 in
Uses
California.
a very small racket.
Very small racket. And if you can believe it, he serves in volleys.
I can believe that. I think that's the easiest thing for a baseball player that he can do in going and playing tennis. Serve, because it's like throwing, and volleying, it's like hitting a baseball.
Well, Morgan's supposed to be very good. Well, the serve here is from Sid Fernandez to John Cangelosi. It's a strike. And here are the umpires. John Kibler behind the plate, Jerry Lane at first base, Jerry Davis at second base, and Eric Gregg at third. Cangelosi batting .247, drives the ball down the left field line. Will it stay fair? Foul ball.
Well, Cangelosi with no home runs, and in his major league career, not a home run hitter, he's had only 6, and this ball was hit far enough, but it was foul, and he gets all over this fastball. Puts a good move on it, proves that you don't have to be big to hit it a long way.
You know the anxiety going through his body as that ball was heading foul?
Says I got one.
Here's the 0-2 pitch. Well, a high fastball. He butcher boys the ball in the center field. You better watch Sid Fernandez today. Not many hitters put the ball in play, and you better watch John Cangelosi. He likes to run.
He has 9 stolen bases in 13 attempts. The Pirates run a lot. They have 94 stolen bases. That's 5th in the National League. They're 10th in home runs and 10th in hitting. And they're 8th in runs scored.
The batter now, Jose Lean, batting .230, 2 home runs, 30 RBIs. Last year had an outstanding year with the Pirates. A little bit of a disappointment this year. Pirates were down on him even defensively early in the year. And the first pitch is a strike.
Well, you know, the first thing that happens when you come into camp overweight, they say that's not going to work, and he came in heavier than he'd ever been, and I guess he had that good year last year, and that got the attention of the Pirates, and he's had a terrible year. I mean, the last 40 at-bats is almost unbelievable.
Up high, 1-1.
He's had just 3 hits in his last 43 at-bats, and 2 of those in the first 2 games of this series. Earlier, he'd had 11-game hitting streak, the longest hitting streak for Pittsburgh this year. I wonder how a singles hitter can go that long as you look at Jeff King.
And Lean can run. So if he can bunt the ball, he can get a hit. They check the runner at first base. Got to watch the pitcher on a day like today, especially as Sid Fernandez, who pitches up in the strike zone. It's hot and it's humid.
And the balls carry well on this type of weather. Sid, a fly ball pitcher.
1-1 pitch. Fouled off. Lean trying to go the other way. 1-2. One ball and 2 strikes on Jose Lean. We're talking about Richie Ashburn a moment ago. Shortly, the Mets will head down to Philadelphia, so we'll be seeing Richie Ashburn. Here's the 1-2 pitch. There's a bad swing right there, fouled off, so it remains 1-2. One ball, 2 strikes. Nobody out. We're in the top of the first inning here at Shea Stadium. The Mets and the Pirates. And a ground ball, second base, should be 2. They get 1, not in time. So they get the force, a 4-6 force on John Cangelosi. But Jose leaned with that good speed, beating the throw to first.
Well, a turnaround pivot by Jeffries, the throw a little bit high. Nice job by Elster coming off the bag to make the throw there, and Lean just does beat the attempt at double play. He's ready for this game.
Oh, he is. Shirt off. Give me a bat. He's got the lid on. One man down, the batter now, Jeff King. He's batting 196. 1 home run, 2 RBIs. He takes up high, ball 1. He was signed as a third baseman.
Out of the University of Arkansas, the same college that Kevin McReynolds went to, and he was the top player that year.
I believe he married Miss Arkansas also.
Did he?
Yeah. Which sometimes could be more important.
He tied Kevin Reynolds' home run record, career record. He had 17 home runs there, as did Kevin.
Up high, 2-0. King hitting the home run the other night off of Rick Aguilera. He got his first major league hit off of Aguilera, and the other night hitting a home run. Signed as a third baseman. They moved him to first. He has a bad arm. Of course, he's not going to play third base as long as Bobby Bonilla is down there.
8 of his 9 hits have been extra base hits.
Pops the ball up in foul territory, and nobody will be able to get to it. Talking to Jim Rooker, one of the broadcasters with the Pittsburgh Pirates. He likes King as a hitter. He says very seldom does he get fooled.
Well, he's a young kid, first round draft choice in 1986, so he played a little bit in 86, 87, and 88, now here in the major leagues. He was rushed up from Buffalo. He was hitting .250 there in 50 games with 6 home runs.
You see Jose leaned, leading off first base. And there he goes. Ball's put in play. Nice play, and it'll be a base hit. Nobody covering third. Good heads-up base running by Lean, and now the runner's heading to second. How about that? Jeff King going to second base.
Sid Fernandez worried more about his cap than he was about the base runner, and that allowed both runners to move up. And at what was a great defensive play by Howard Johnson, it turns into nothing.
Third baseman, number 25.
On the failure of Sid Fernandez to cover third, and the failure of Sid Fernandez to pick the ball up and keep the runner from first from going down to second base. Well, here it is again. Now watch this stop. This is a great stop. And that should leave runners at first and second, but instead Sid doesn't cover at the third base, and the runner comes over, Lean going to third, and now Sid picking up his cap, not even worried about the runner going down to second base.
Well, Davies worried about the runner because they're on second and third with 1 man out, and now they're putting Bobby Bonilla on first. See if we get a catcher's block. Now Mackey got out of that catcher's box before the ball was thrown. Let's see if we get it again. You're looking at Bonilla's stats: 259, 12, and 50. Ball 3, 3-0. If that ball got by Howard Johnson, the Pirates would have scored 1 run.
So we'll look at Bobby Bonilla walking to first. Well, let's take a look here. Now Hojo comes up, knocks the ball down, and has a play at third, but Sid Fernandez is not there. And now the glasses on Hojo, slipping down on his nose. But Sid late covering at third, no chance for a play there. Now he picks up the cap while the runner goes to second.
Sid should have thrown the cap. Well, the bases are loaded now. Back to live action. Barry Bonds, the batter. Bonds batting .250. 14 home runs and 40 RBIs. He has scored 61 runs. And he takes the ball, 1-0. And you make a decision to walk a batter to load the bases up. A lot of times you have to take into consideration the pitcher. Can he throw strikes? It's 1-0 right now on Barry Bonds. 1-1. Barry helping sit out right there, chasing that bad ball. Barry Bonds early in the year was leading off. Like I mentioned, he has scored 61 runs.
He does get a lot of walks. He has 63 walks.
Fouls that pitch off. 1-2. Big crowd on hand for this afternoon game. After the game, the Mets will travel to Chicago, play 3 games at Wrigley Field, and then on to St. Louis for 4 games against the Cardinals. 1-2. Line drive, base hit. Pirates will score 2 runs, and Barry Bonds with a big base hit. The Pirates have the lead 2-0 here in the first inning.
Number 23.
Well, this is a big base hit off the left-hander. Sid, very tough on left-hand batters, but not this time as the ball is well hit the center. Samuel throws in the second 2-run score, and the Mets in deep trouble here as they have runners at first and third. Mel Stoudemire going out to the mound.
Stoudemire talking to Mackey Sasser and Sid Fernandez. The Mets lost the first 2 games of this series to the Pirates. As I mentioned, after this game, they go to play the Cubs in Chicago, and the Cardinals will play the Expos. While the Mets are in Chicago, the Cardinals travel to Montreal.
Last time that the Pirates won a series here at Shea Stadium was way back in September 1985. And the last time they swept a series here at Shea was back in 1981, and they're on the verge of sweeping this one, winning the first 2 games and leading 2-0 here.
And the batter, R.J. Reynolds, batting .299, 4 home runs and 33 RBIs. He's batting with runners in the corners. As you see the line score, 2-0 Pirates. And a fastball up high, ball 1. R.J. Reynolds, switch hitting right fielder for the Pirates. He signed with the L.A. Dodgers. They tell me he plays his best baseball when the Dodgers play the Pirates. His nickname is Shoes. Breaking ball for a strike at 1-1.
He might be the only person that has more shoes than Arthur Richmond, who used to work for the Mets.
Arthur with a lot of shoes, huh?
He's got boxes and boxes. Arthur was out here the other night with his wife Martha, now working for the Yankees.
The curveball is hit a long way to left field, hanging curveball, and it's a home run. R.J. Reynolds hitting his 5th home run of the season. And here in the first inning, there's only 1 man down, and the Mets are getting tattooed 5-0.
Career home run. A couple of years ago, he hit a home run opening day off Doc Gooden, and the catch is made in the bullpen on the other side. So the Mets really in deep trouble, trailing 5-0. They've never come back from being behind more than 3 runs.
This year?
This year, yes.
1 out. Junior Ortiz, the batter, he hits a fly ball that stays in the infield, and Greg Jeffries makes the grab. 2 down. So with 2 men down, the batter will be the 8th hitter in the Pirate lineup, Rafael Belliard. Belliard batting .233, no home runs, 8 RBIs. 5-0 Pirates on top of the Mets. Belliard playing shortstop today. Jay Bell played last night and the night before. Ray Quinones, a young shortstop who was traded over to the Pirates and the Mariners, has been released. There's a strike. I'm told he clears waivers today. A lot of speculation that Quinones will end up in Philadelphia. The 0-1 pitch. Ground ball shortstop. Elster scored 63, and that'll do it for the Pirates here in the first inning. We've played a half inning, and it's unbelievably 5-0 Pirates. Well, as we go to the bottom of the first inning, here's the Met lineup. It'll be catch-up baseball for the third place Mets, 53 and 44. Juan Samuel leading off, to be followed by Dave Magadan and then Howard Johnson. The middle three, Darryl Strawberry, Kevin McReynolds, and Greg Jeffries. And the bottom three, Mackey Sasser, Kevin Elster, and then Sid Fernandez.
And on the mound, Jeff Robinson with a record of 5-9. He's 1-0 against the Mets this year, an earned run average of 4.82. This will be his 7th game start. He has worked 74 and 2/3 innings, giving up 77 hits, walking 33 and striking out 57. He's 1-4 lifetime against the New York Mets.
And his defense: King, Leaned, Belliard, and Bonilla in the infield. Bonds, Cangelosi, Reynolds in the outfield, and Ortiz behind the plate. Juan Samuel leading off, batting .243, 9 home runs and 29 RBIs. Samuel has scored 48 runs, and the breaking ball is a strike. Jeff Robinson came over to the Pirates from the San Francisco Giants. Going to the Giants in that trade, Big Daddy Rick Rusher. Fouled off, 0-2.
Samuel hitting .236 as a New York Mets player with 1 home run, 9 runs batted in. He's had 11 stolen bases for the Mets in 13 attempts.
And he takes down low, ball 1-2. By the way, Robinson, a converted relief pitcher. Last year as a relief pitcher, he tied for second in the National League in appearances. Down low, 2-2. I think the real crushing blow to the Pirates this year was the loss of Jim Gott early on. Gott had tenderness in his arm in spring training, but continued to pitch with it. And then they lost him for the year. Two-2 pitch. Samuel fouls it off. So the count remains 2 balls and 2 strikes. Well, tomorrow afternoon, the Mets will take on Scott Sanderson and the Chicago Cubs. David Cohn will pitch that ball game. 2:20 p.m. start here in New York, and you catch all that action right here on SportsChannel. Saturday, NBC has the game, and Sunday, WOR. There's a fly ball, center field. Cangelosi is there and makes the grab. 1 down.
Number 29, first baseman Dave Magadan.
The batter now, Dave Magadan. Magadan batting .300, 4 home runs, 23 RBIs. That looks like the size of the ball the Pirates were hitting in the top of the first. Andy Van Slyke. You can't puncture that, can you, Ralph? That's too big. That's too nice a beach ball.
Got to save that one, huh? It makes a good footstool.
Now they're going to try. They're going to try to puncture. Whoop! There it goes. They're violent. They took it out in the baseball on the top of the first. Now they're taking it out on a beach ball. Score this one 4-3. 2 down. So 2 quick outs for the Mets here in the bottom of the first inning. If you're the manager of a team, Ralph, and your team is down 5-0 without batting, what do you tell them when they go to bat?
Well, you got to do it in a professional way. You got to say, let's go out and get him back and do it 1 run at a time, and let's take a look at the pitcher, make him pitch a little bit. It's a hot day. Try and wear him down. All those things. You just can't make it easy for him by hitting the first pitch.
Well, it's Howard Johnson batting .298 with 25 dingers, and he takes a strike. He also has 62 RBIs.
You also remind him that Pittsburgh blew a 10-run lead in the first inning to the Philadelphia Phillies on June 8th this year.
That was a wild game. Jim Rooker, the broadcaster with the Pirates, said on the air, if the Pirates lose this game, I'll walk back to Pittsburgh. Down low, 1-1.
And he has scheduled a walk back to Pittsburgh from Philadelphia at the end of the season.
For charity.
Says it'll take him about 2 weeks.
Yeah, I'm talking to Jim in the press room today. He said 2 weeks to walk from Philly to Pittsburgh. And they're going to do it for charity.
That's called putting your foot in your mouth.
He is one of the great characters I've ever caught in baseball. Down low. There's the Rook. He was a pretty good left-handed pitcher. Also enjoyed himself off the field. It was interesting to follow his exploits.
He was a good pitcher.
Oh, yes, he was. What a competitor. Jim Rooker. 2-1 on Howard Johnson. But the Rook is going to walk for 2 weeks. Shot in the right field base hit. First hit of the game for the Mets. Howard Johnson scalding that pitch.
Well, if you want to get a look at a good swing, it's very short. And watch how quickly that bat goes on the ball. Right there. That's a good swing.
I get a feeling this is going to be a wild game. I don't know why. Could it be karma?
Well, it could be a day game after a night game.
So forget karma, huh?
Yeah, karma didn't get a thing to do with it.
2 outs, and Darryl Strawberry, the batter, takes down and in ball 1. Strawberry batting .231, 22 home runs and 52 RBIs. When that ball hit the dirt, automatically John Kibler, the home plate umpire, wanted to check it. He's a good umpire. And there goes Hojo, and the ball's put in play. Leaned is right there, and the ball is bounced to Robinson. How about that? Should have been an easy out right there. I think it's karma.
Well, again, the pitcher didn't cover. Sid Fernandez made that mistake earlier. It cost him a lot of runs. And right here, King makes a great play, although he didn't know that his second baseman was there, and he should have. And now to throw a toss there because Robinson was late covering. Lean has been playing Strawberry in that same position near first base in every game that they've played in this series. So King should have known that.
Well, it's a hit. The batter now, Kevin McReynolds, who's batting .275, 9 home runs and 47 RBIs. Runners on first and second, bottom of the first inning. McReynolds pops the ball up. King is calling for it and makes the grab for out number 3. So the Mets go down here in the first inning. They strand 2 runners at the end of 1. It's 5-0 Pittsburgh.
Friday, Davy Johnson's troops invade Chicago for an Eastern Division showdown with Ryan Sandberg and the Cubs. Can the Mets hurlers stop Chicago's big guns at Windy Wrigley? The Mets and Cubs Friday afternoon at 2:15. Live and exclusive on SportsChannel.
Well, back here at Shea Stadium, the Mets trailing the Pirates 5-0, and the pitcher, Jeff Robinson, leads it off here in the second inning. The first pitch from Sid Fernandez is a strike. Robinson 0 for 13 this season. Swung on and missed. 0-2. Robinson went to Cal State Fullerton. And probably the only major league player to major in geography. Ground ball to second base. Greg Jeffries to Magadan, 1 down. And 1 man down, the batter, who will give Robinson time to get back to the dugout, John Cangelosi.
There was a football player
Center
who shall
fielder,
go
John
nameless because
Castellotti.
he ended up playing in the city of Cleveland, but when he was drafted for football by Cleveland, he didn't know where Cleveland was. So he looked it up on the map and he said, oh, this is great. Just like Southern California. They got beaches there. It's right on the lake. Well, he got there and the lake was on fire. Literally on fire. They have a lake there just off the side there, Lake Erie, I guess.
Yeah, near Municipal Stadium.
And there's so much oil on the water that it burns.
Only in Cleveland. 0-1 on Cangelosi, and he takes outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Cangelosi came over to the Pirates from the Chicago White Sox in 1987. Born in Brooklyn, New York. Fouls the ball out of play. 1-2. I believe his dad was a basketball coach in the Brooklyn area.
Angelosi with the White Sox in 1986 set a club record for stolen bases. He had 50. And his first major league hit was a home run in his second game. He doesn't hit many.
He's got 4 in the National League, 3 in the American League. Curveball, fly ball left field. Kevin McReynolds is right there and makes the grab. 2 down. So 2 men down here at Shea Stadium, top of the second inning. 5-0 Pirates, and the batter Jose Lind. Four-year-old second baseman for the Pirates. The fastball misses inside, ball 1. Lean played his amateur ball in Puerto Rico. The 1-0 pitch. Boy, look at that bat. Yeah.
Well, fortunately, it didn't hit anybody when it went in the stands. And
Jose Lean said, keep the bat. I guarantee you, if he was red hot, he'd have to exchange that bat.
That's right. But he's anything but that. He is now 3 for 44. And that bat hadn't done him any good at all. So that's a good way to get rid of it.
That's fun. Wouldn't it be something if it was somebody else's bat?
Could be, too. He might get killed.
Bobby Bonilla's gamer. Go ahead and keep it.
There's a real souvenir.
1-1 on Lean. Inside. 2-1. Five runs, 4 hits, no errors for the Pirates. That all took place in the first inning. Outside, 3-1. Last year, Lean batted .262 for the Pirates. Drove in 49 runs, but he played a tremendous defensive second base. I understand he's an outstanding basketball player also. Of course, he can jump.
You have to be the best jumper in the world.
Down low, ball 4. So Jose Lean walks.
His hobby is standing behind someone and jumping over their head from a standing start.
He probably puts a certain limit on that, though. I mean,
He wouldn't take on Bill Russell or
no.
Will Chamberlain or somebody like that?
Well, Jeff King, the batter. King had an infield hit his first time up. Howard Johnson knocked the ball down, keeping it in the infield. And nobody covered third base. Howard Johnson knocked the ball down at deep third base. Jose Lean went all the way from first to third. King takes outside, ball 1. Sid Fernandez going over trying to cover the bag, dropped the ball and his hat. He had an option of what to pick up first. He reached for the hat. While he reached for the hat, Jeff King went from first to second base. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Foul off. 1 ball and 1 strike. 24 years old. They get some young players on the Pirate Ball Club. There's the big curveball, but this is up high, ball one. King in the minor leagues batted .255 last year at Harrisburg. His best year was in Salem, batting .277. He had 26 home runs in Salem. Outside, 3-1.
King's father was a minor league ball player.
He's still involved in baseball. Here's the 3-1 pitch. Swung on a missed strike two. It's 3-2. In fact, his father is director of baseball ministry for athletes in action.
Played in the Philadelphia Philly organization, the father, Jack King.
You know, it's interesting. Also, he had a brother, Ralph, a brother named Jim, who was drafted twice, but did not sign a pro contract.
Didn't want to play ball.
Ball four. So runners on first and second with 2 men down. And the batter will be Bobby Bonilla.
Third baseman, Bobby Bonilla.
All those base on balls.
Frankie Frisch.
And right now, Davey Johnson. Well, runners on first and second, 2 men out. The man who leads the Pirates in RBIs and hits the batter. A high chopper. They go to second and they get the force. Good strong throw from Howard Johnson, and that'll do it for the Pirates. Here at the top of the second inning, they fail to score, leave 2 runners stranded. It's 5-0 Pirates. On the Sports Channel suite, watching the ball game today, students from the Human Resources Center enjoying the Met-Pirate game as the Mets are trailing 5-0. Bottom of the second inning, Greg Jeffries the batter. And Jeffries batting .234, 4 home runs and 34 RBIs. Hits a ground ball to the right side. Leaned and knocks it down in time. 1 out. Close to an error, but no cigar.
Well, Lean having a tough time in this ball game. But here he recovers on the ground ball in time to throw out Jeffries.
And with 1 man down, the batter will be Mackie Sasser. Sasser batting .275, 1 home run, 16 RBIs. And a ground ball to first base. King will take it himself. 2 down. And with 2 men down, the batter will be Kevin Elster. Elster batting .217, 3 home runs and 24 RBIs. He's been hot lately. He hit a home run in last night's game. His best year for home runs was last year with the Mets. 9 home runs. Never reached that number in the minor leagues. He takes down low, ball 1. Batted only .214 last year.
Last year he got off to a great start as he hit a home run opening day.
And a ground ball, nice play, Bonilla. And he throws it high. Error on Bobby Bonilla after making a great stop.
Well, Elster brought a hitting streak into this game.
I'd give him a hit.
So it could go for a hit.
Yeah, they gave him a hit.
Great stop by Bobby Bonilla, and he gets up in a hurry to make the throw, and it's a bad throw, and Elster might have beat it out. So it is a base hit. That extends his hitting streak. He now has hit 9 straight games, and that's a career high. Incidentally, Bonilla last year led all third basemen in errors with 32. This year he's made 22.
And Sid Fernandez the batter. Sid batting .220, no home runs, 5 RBIs. Kevin Elster on first base, not being held on. Although Jeff King is playing a little bit behind him. 1-0 pitch. Ground ball to short. thanks to Hop and Belliard to King, who scored 6-3. And the second inning is over for the New York Mets. They strand a runner. They fail to score. We played 2, and it's 5-0 Pittsburgh.
Well, this copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the New York Mets and is intended for the private non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or the use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the Mets, Sterling Doubleday Enterprises, and SportsChannel is prohibited.
Oh, nice crowd on hand here at Shea Stadium.
Biggest crowd of this 3-game series here in this day game.
Whoever said you could not draw for day games?
They draw extremely well in the summertime here with the Mets in the daytime.
Barry Lamar Bonds the batter. And he takes strike 1. How about this guy, Ralph? At Arizona State, he hit 45 home runs.
Aluminum bat.
Think so? It was the aluminum bat. But do you know in batting practice out there, they have him take it with a wooden bat? Breaking ball, misses outside, 1-1. Some of these colleges just assume that a lot of their players will be drafted by professional teams, so they have them take batting practice with wooden bats. There's a strike, 1-2.
Well, the aluminum bat, you can hit the ball anywhere from the trademark to the end of the bat. The ball will still go somewhere. With wooden bats, if you don't hit it on what they call the sweet spot, about 5 inches from the end of the bat will break and the ball will not go anywhere.
And Bonds pops it up. Greg Jeffries calling for it now. Dave Magadan calling for it, and Magadan makes the catch. Well, it was clear that Greg Jeffries had misjudged the ball, and at the last moment came in and ran into Dave Magadan.
Well, the Mets having all kinds of difficulties getting together in this ball game. There you see Jeffries staggering around, and Magadan was under it all the way.
Right fielder, R.J. Reynolds.
Magadan over to make the play, and fortunately not spiked.
So with one man down, R.J. Reynolds, with 64 hits in this season, is the batter.
Oh, he's having a good year.
Oh, he hit a home run off of a hanging curveball his first time, up a 3-run dinger. And he's going to bunt. Up high, ball 1. Did you ever bunt?
Yeah.
Did you?
9th inning, 3 or 4 runs down, had to get on base.
Did you ever beat it out?
Sure.
Come
I
on
could
now.
bunt. I was good.
A good bunter?
Mm-hmm.
Did you work at it?
Sure did.
1-0 pitch.
Worked at everything.
1-1. Must have been interesting to see you hitting home runs and out there working on your bunt.
I didn't work a whole lot.
Did you work on your sprints?
What is this, an interrogation?
I never heard you talk enthusiastically about a bunt.
Well, it's a good play if you're behind in the 9th. You got to get on base some way, and they usually played me out in left field.
1-2 on Reynolds. I guess the best bunter in the National League now would have to be Brett Butler.
He's a good one.
Very good. I think he has about 15 or 16 already this year. He sets the table for Will Clark.
Otis Nixon, also a good bunter. Montreal.
Doesn't he hit around 210?
What you're saying is all his hits look like bunts.
There's a base hit into right center field for R.J. Reynolds. He's 2 for 2.
The catcher, Junior
Reynolds
Ortiz.
lifting his average over 300 today. And with Reynolds on first base, the batter will be Junior Ortiz.
Pretty good indication of Sid Fernandez and his stuff here today. He has not struck out a batter.
You got to watch those high fastball pitchers. They lose a little bit, they can get tattooed. Sid has not been getting a good break in his curveball either. There's a fastball, misses outside. 1-0. It's funny, you can have good stuff in the bullpen before the game, but you can get on that mound and it can just leave.
And vice versa. Have nothing in the bullpen, get on the mound, have a great day.
Exactly. I get the biggest kick out of a pitching coach or a manager after you warm up a pitcher. They'll call you and they'll say, how's he throwing? It really doesn't matter. Up high, 2-0.
I imagine some psychologist or psychiatrist could explain the reason why.
Think that should be analyzed?
Why not?
That's right. Everything else is.
Amazing how people who don't play the game know the game, or think they know.
Fouled off. 2-1. There's Mel making a call to the pin. He's got a pin. Remember when before the telephones they used to have signs for different players? If you were portly, they'd walk out and they'd do this.
That's right, or give the big over the belly type thing.
Or if you were tall, they'd be pointing up in the air. 2-1 pitch. There goes the runner. Fly ball center field, so Reynolds will have to go back. Samuel makes the grab. 2 down. Two men down here in the third inning, and the batter will be Rafael Belliard. Yeah, some of those relief pitchers used to be insulted by the sign they would get from the manager to get up.
Belliard with a rather unusual record last year. He had 286 at-bats last season and did not hit a 2-base hit. He had 4 extra base hits. They were all triples.
That's incredible. And he's a high chopper base hit into right field. And the runner, R.J. Reynolds, stops at second base. So Belliard picking up a base hit. I guess it's a Baltimore chop.
Boy, this hot sun has really baked out the infield here at Shea. It's like playing on AstroTurf. Look at that. It looks like a jackrabbit going out there.
The pitcher.
So we have runners on first and second with 2 men down, and the batter will be Jeff Robinson. It's been a struggle this year for the Pirates, although this has been a big series for them coming into Shea Stadium, and possibly right now they have a 5-0 lead. You have the possibility of sweeping the Mets.
Last time they did that, 1983. 3-game sweep.
Good fastball right there, strike 1. Pirates, when the season started, a lot of the baseball people felt they had a shot at beating the Mets for the Eastern Division title. Problem is they really didn't have the depth. So when they had some key injuries, it became a major problem for the Pirates. Ground ball up the middle. Jeffries makes the play and decides to throw to first for the final out, and that'll do it for the Pirates. Here in the top of the third, they fail to score. We've played 2.5, and the Pirates are comfortably in front of the Mets, 5-0.
Well, let's check out the scoreboard with Wiz. Cincinnati 2 and San Diego 1. That game in the bottom of the 6th inning. Cincinnati has lost 10 straight ball games. Later on, the Dodgers against Houston, San Francisco and Atlanta at night. And in the American League, Detroit playing Milwaukee and Kansas City playing in Boston. That one a night game. Baltimore leading Toronto by 4.5. Cleveland by 4.5. Boston by 5.5. The Yankees in Milwaukee by 7. And California leading Oakland by 1. Kansas City by 5.5. And Texas by 5.5. In the National League West, San Francisco leading Houston by 2, San Diego by 11, the Dodgers by 13.5, Cincinnati by 14.5 games, Atlanta by 19. And in the all-important National League East, Montreal leading the Cubs by 3.5, the Mets by 4.5, St. Louis by 6, Pittsburgh by 14.5, and Philadelphia by 19.5.
And Juan Samuel leads it off for the Mets. Bottom of the third inning, 5-0 here. Pirates on top of the Mets. There's a drive down the left field line, and fair ball. Extra bases, could be a triple. Well, Juan Samuel decides to hold on at second base. So Samuel leading off with a double.
Well, a fastball in tight. He hits it near the trademark, but it's far enough away from Barry Bonds to drop in. And when the ball goes on by, Barry picks it up, throws it in high over the third baseman's head, but Samuel had already pulled up at second. This is a very bad throw into third. And the catcher of the ball is Bobby Bonilla, and Jose leaned all the way over from his second base position to take that little underhanded toss. Good hustle.
And the batter now, Dave Magadan. Over his last 58 games, hitting well over 300, 325 to be exact. He grounded out in the first inning. Jeff Robinson pitching to Dave Magadan. Nobody out here in the bottom of the third. And he takes a strike. 1-1. Robinson, 28 years old. You have to be young to pitch on a day like today. Last year he had a great year with the Pirates in relief. He was 11-5. He had some great, I should say, good pitching out of the bullpen last year with Jeff Robinson and Jim Gott.
11-5 with 9 saves in 75 games, and none of them as a starting pitcher.
And of course, his appearances ranked him second in the National League. Jim Gott, of course, with over 30 saves. One of the reasons for the Pirates' success. And of course, they stayed away from key injuries. 2-1 on Dave Magadan. Outside, 3-1. Mets can pick up a half game today if they can come back and win this ball game. Expos not playing. 3-1 pitch, down low, ball 4. Runners now on first and second. And Howard Johnson, the batter. As Ralph mentioned, he hammered a ball to right field his first time up. By the way, since we have a moment, remember, it makes good sense to drink responsibly. Know when to say when. A reminder from Anheuser-Busch. Runners on first and second. Down low, ball 1. Well, Ralph mentioned earlier, if you're losing 5-0, make the pitcher pitch. It's hot and humid. Could Robinson be getting tired, Mr. Kiner?
Well, you have to think that it's a tough day for a pitcher to pitch, but it really is too early to be tired. You got to be in terrible shape if you're out of gas this early in the ball game.
Okay, Neil Heaton warming up in the Pirate bullpen. Up high, ball 2. Really, your best conditioned baseball players should be your pitchers because they run every day. If you're a starting pitcher, you do countless number of sprints. Now, Ray Miller was a pitcher. He hasn't been doing too many sprints lately, though.
I think one of the problems you have with platoon baseball is keeping your players who are not playing every day in shape. Sitting on the bench certainly doesn't do it, and you really have to work out hard on your own.
That's right.
To stay ready when you do play.
And also keeping them happy is one of the more difficult chores a manager has.
Well, that's impossible. That's from day one in baseball. If the guy isn't playing, he's unhappy.
That's
Almost everybody's that way.
You got to really keep the unhappy players split up.
That's right. Don't let them get together. Might have a mutiny.
That's right. Have some of them sit in the stands during the game. It used to be that if you were upset at the manager, you would go to the bullpen and watch the game from the bullpen.
When I played for Pittsburgh and Frankie Frisch was our manager, he'd be about the only man on the bench. They'd all be in the bullpen.
Is that right?
Oh, he used to rave and rant and throw things.
That's wild. Well, Hojo with the 2-0 count. Runners on first and second with nobody out. 3 balls, no strikes. And on deck, waiting to come to dinner, Number 18, Darryl Strawberry.
Well, a walk here would certainly set the table for Darryl.
Ball 4. Dinner is served. Bases loaded with Mets. And he's not happy. Jim Leland.
Strawberry hit his first Grand Slam home run against the Pittsburgh Pirates and Mike Bilecki in the first inning of a Mets 18-inning 5-4 win. That was back in 1985.
Ball 1. Jeff Robinson has lost his control, obviously. Darryl Strawberry, by the way, is in an RBI frame of mind. Over his last 20 games, he's driven in 19 runs. Ball 2. Well, the Pirates jumped way out in front in the first inning. He had to be happy. Now he's not. Bases loaded with Mets and nobody out. Ball 3.
Well, you got to let him hit away here.
Oh, yes. And you just have to hope that Darryl has the patience to get a pitcher who can drive.
He's got to look for it in one spot, and if it's not there, take it. But Mets trailing by 5. He was not hitting away there. He was taking, and that pitch would have been a terrible pitch to swing at anyway, so it didn't cost him anything.
3-1 on Darryl Strawberry. We've got some excitement here right now. Bases loaded. A drive foul.
Well, Darryl all over that inside fastball, but out in front of it. There's the concentration, Darryl, with the eyes trying to pick that ball up. He picked it up all right. He's in front.
And a 3-2 pitch. Line drive right at Belliard. Ball was hit right on the nose, but an out. The base runners wisely holding their ground. 1 down.
Tough break for the Mets and Darryl Strawberry. This ball was hit hard. And good base running by all 3 base runners, not getting doubled off. So Belliard pulling that one in for 1 away. That'll leave it up to Kevin McReynolds.
McReynolds, his first time up, popped out to the second baseman. Jose leaned with 2 men aboard. Now there are 3 men aboard, 1 out. And he pops the ball up. Center fielder John Cangelosi coming in, makes the grab. Samuel fakes to the plate, the throw. Wisely held his ground at third base. Bases are still loaded.
Second baseman, Greg Jeffries.
2 down.
Well, Jeff Robinson about to get out of this thing. After giving up a double and 2 walks, he went 3-0 on Strawberry and got Darryl out in the line drive and got McReynolds on the first pitch to pop up.
Jeffries grounded out his first time. He's going to do it again. Ball's booted by Lead. He can't find a handle. Big break for the Mets. Oh, boy. Samuel scoring. And Jeff Robinson almost pitched out of a bases-loaded jam with nobody out. That's a big break right there, that error.
Unearned run for the Mets. It keeps it going. Lean making his 11th error of the season. That's really not too many for a second baseman at this point in the year, but he can't pick up the ball. And if he'd have picked it up on the first grab, he had Jeffries at first.
So the bases are still loaded with Mets. And Mackey Sasser takes outside, ball 1. It's 5-1. You saw the line score. 6 hits for the Pirates, 4 for the Mets. The big blow in this game for the Pirates, a 3-run home run by R.J. Reynolds off a hanging curveball. 1-0 pitch. Down and in, 2-0.
Sasser, a former Pirate, hitting .226 against Pittsburgh with no home runs in a very short period of time. He has the bases loaded here, and a base hit could put the Mets back in the ballgame.
Saw the runners. Magadan on third, Johnson on second, Jeffries on first. There's a drive right field, base hit. 1 run will score. And here comes Howard Johnson, the throw. Not in time, 5-3 ball game. Here come the Mets.
Well, a great job by Mackey Sasser. He has just been sensational at the bat for the Mets as he drives in 2 runs. Sasser in his last 33 games hitting over 300, and there was a big 2-out base hit.
Jeffries on second base. Sasser on first. Elster the batter, and a line drive foul. 2 men down here in the 3rd inning, and the Mets have come back with 3 runs.
All the runs unearned as a result of the error, but the Mets capitalizing with Mackey Sasser's big base hit.
And the 0-1 pitch. Line drive, base hit, left field. Here comes Jeffries. Here comes the throw. And it's not in time. Great slide, Greg Jeffries. 5-4. And good coaching by Sammy Perlaza.
Well, another 2-out base hit. Elster on a tear. And a great slide here as Jeffries gets by and gets a foot on the bag as the home plate umpire, John Kibler, calls the play and calls it safe. Pretty good throw by Barry Bonds. Ortiz trying to block the plate with his foot, but Jeffries somehow gets around it, and the Mets are back in this game.
Excellent call by John Kibler. He was right on top of that play. And another clutch hit for Kevin Elster. So Mets on first and second, and Keith Hernandez is the batter. What a ball game. 5 runs for the Pirates in the top of the first. We're in the bottom of the 3rd. The bases were loaded with Mets. Nobody out. Darryl Strawberry hit a line drive at the shortstop for 1. You're looking at Jeff Innes. Sid Fernandez out of the game. The next batter, Kevin McReynolds, fly to shallow center field. The runner could not score. Then Greg Jeffries with 2 outs. It's a ground ball right at the second baseman, Jose Lean. Jose Lean bobbled the ball, tried to pick it up, couldn't get the handle. Jeffries gets the first. A run scores. Here comes Jim Leland. A big break right there when Jose Lean could not come up with the ball. And the Mets have come back. They pick up 4 runs here in the bottom of the 3rd. It's now 5-4. That's all for Jeff Robinson. So Sid Fernandez, who started for the Mets, is out.
Right here, here's the ground ball. It's a routine ground ball. And Jose Lean can't get it. If he'd have picked it up after he had bobbled it on the first try, he had to.
Ralph, are you surprised that Keith Hernandez is pinch hitting this early in the game? He can't play defense because he can't make any sharp turns, so.
Can't stay in the ball game, and this is the chance. You got to capitalize on this opportunity.
And there's a drive to left field, but Barry Bonds is there and makes the grab. And that'll do it for the Mets here in the bottom of the third. But it's a new ball game because the Mets have picked up 4 runs. We played 3, and it's 5-4.
Angelosi, an on-base kind of guy. Howard Johnson in very close at third base, right near the line. Fake bunt. Angelosi really checking to see what the first baseman and the second baseman were going to do there. Magadan is in halfway. Innes pretty quick getting over to first base, but Angelosi very quick down the line. Ball just outside. 2 balls, no strikes.
You really want to keep this guy off the bases because he is a stolen base threat. He doesn't play every day. He only has 9 so far.
That's just a fake. Just taking all the way, trying to get on base. 3-0.
Leading the Pirates in stolen bases, Barry Bonds.
Actually, Angelosi hitting 194 against left-handed pitching, 283 against right-handers. And he gets another walk. A leadoff walk by Jeff Innes, who most of the time really has excellent control.
Second baseman, Jose
Not what
Lee.
Davy Johnson was looking for.
You know, Sid Fernandez today, it looked like Sid was struggling not only with his control, his velocity, and also his curveball. Didn't look like he had much of a break in his curveball, and Sid usually has that big breaking curveball. Jeff Robinson struggled last inning with his control.
It's a very hot day out there. Jose leaned, an opportunity to make up a little bit for that big error. Innes tosses over the first. Both managers have been very aggressive on the bases with hit and runs, steals. I think you're right, Fran. This is going to be a crazy game. It's a strike for Innes. It's ahead of Jose Lean. Angelosi bounced back to first base as Innes went to the plate. I don't know how he could have been fooled by that. That was a weird one.
You only see that happen with a left-hander pitching.
Normally. Now he does come back over.
And you know, he moved back to first base before Innes moved towards first.
Angelosi, a good lead.
And he will run. Better watch.
Bounces back. Lean takes a ball, 1-1.
He did it again. He bounced back to first base. Maybe this is a trick.
He's got us fooled. We don't know what he's doing. Gene Lamont, the third base coach, giving the signs. There he goes. Ground ball. Great play by Magadan at first. Goes back over, tags the bag. The runner does go on to second base, but what a play by Magadan.
Well, when you hit a ball like this, you want a base hit, but Magadan said no way. Makes the grab and takes it himself. But on the ground ball, Angelosi going to second base.
1 out, Jeff King at the plate. There's Angelosi. He'll steal third base in an instant, too, if you don't pay attention to him.
You know, on a day like today, this is tiring on a pitcher, this type of weather. Also, a catcher's really not that comfortable. It's tiring on him. He's also sweating a great deal. His hands are wet, so it's a pretty good day to run a lot.
Breaking ball by Innes, strike 1. Jeff King, an infield single, a walk, a run scored. Another breaking ball, that catching the outside corner. You're seeing Jeff King turning around to John Kibler. He didn't like the call, but that's a pretty good pitch. The flag's blowing hard to left center field, across from right. There's another breaking ball, popped up. Elster back on the grass a little bit, shading the glare. 2 down.
He had a shade with his glove, even though he had the glasses down. And it's really, I mean, the sun is not blazing out here. But as Rusty mentioned, the glare, look at this. Fighting the light sky, even though he has the glasses down. One of the beauties of a glove like that is you can catch it one-handed.
It's either that or he's trying to get Davy Johnson to take about 6 or 8 more of those Rolaids out.
Davy's still sitting next to those Rolaids down in the dugout, just in case.
Bobby Bonilla walked in the first, grounded out in the second. Takes a ball. Pirates are going to have a big night for Kent Tekulve at Three Rivers Stadium on September 3rd, honoring him for all his many great years. Tekulve retired this year from the Cincinnati Ball Club. Line drive in the center. No, it's a little jam job, and Bonilla, it's a soft liner. Elster just drifts back and makes the play. What a break for the Mets. And after 3.5 innings, it's still Pittsburgh 5 and New York 4. Sorry. And fans, the Mets' favorite returns on Sunday, August 6th, when the Mets battle their division rivals, the Montreal Expos. Yes, it's Emerson Banner Day. Contestants enter through gates B, C, or D. Banners must be carried by 1 or 2 people. Prizes will be awarded courtesy of Emerson Radio. The banner parade starts at 1:30 p.m. Game time is 3:05. Tickets are available at all Ticketron outlets. Shea's advanced ticket window, or call 718-507-TIXX for more information. Mets baseball, excellence, again and again. Juan Samuel takes a strike. Sammy 1 for 2, a double and a run scored. Neil Heaton on the mound. Ball popped up but out of play. Neil Heaton has really struggled. You saw his stats, 1 and 9. 41 walks in 90 innings. Only 29 strikeouts. He's struggling.
From Long Island.
Ball way inside. 1 and 2. It's a pitcher's pitch. You like that when you're a catcher, didn't you? 0 and 2 count. Hard ball inside.
I like it when they shoot for that corner.
Another ball way inside.
Pretty good pitch right there. A lot of times, for years, it would be customary when you got 2 strikes and you threw inside. It was almost a give me. They were going away. I like the pitch where you get 2 strikes and you try to throw a strike, or you throw out the play inside and then come in and try to throw a strike inside.
2 and 2. Fouled out.
Speaking of Long Island, in the news, possible trade, the Mets and Minnesota Twins.
Frank Viola.
Frank Viola, yeah, they've been mentioned prominently in trade talks.
Ground ball to short. Belliard up with it. Long throw. Close play, but he's out.
And there's Bill White sitting next to A. Bartlett Giamatti.
Dave Magadan.
Bill White, an outstanding player with the St. Louis Cardinals.
It's great to be able to see those guys come out and have a little fun.
Well, they're baseball fans. Bill White, a student of the game, did an excellent job broadcasting with the Yankees.
That really was one of baseball's really super decisions, making him the National League president.
Yeah.
Dave Magadan grounded out to second in the first and walked in the third. Scored a run also. What of that 4-run bottom of the third for the Mets. 2 balls, no strikes.
We were talking about Dr. Bobby Brown before, being an excellent tennis player with a bad leg now. Bill White also nursing a bad wheel.
Yeah? Did you take him out on a tennis court and hurt him again?
No, when we worked together, I'll tell you, he had me running all over that tennis court.
High fly ball. R.J. Reynolds went back, now coming in. 2 down.
Bill and I worked together for 6 years with the Yankees, and occasionally we get on a tennis court. As you look at the flag here at Shea Stadium blowing to left field, Bill could play tennis. Now that he has a bad leg, I got to look him up. You know what they say about payback?
Yep. Howard Johnson, a single and a walk. Ball up in the strike zone. I saw that pregame show. You had a nice spot on Casey Stengel.
He was quite a character.
I didn't hear it. You know, if Casey would be alive, he'd be 100 years old today.
Yes. You know, it's amazing. He said in that little piece we had, he said they're going to play their best game on New Year's Day. And I'm thinking, now what is he talking about?
Swing and a miss by Howard Johnson, 1-1. What was he talking about?
I have no idea. I mean, he just came out of no place. They're going to play their best game on New Year's Day.
I was waiting for this end of it.
And I'm saying, what is this man talking about? New Year's Day? Baseball season isn't New Year's Day.
Howard taking a breaking ball inside. 2 balls and a strike.
Of course, Casey Stengel's number retired, along with Tom Seaver and Gil Hodges. Stengel managed the Mets, the Yankees, and he wanted to forget it, but he did manage the Boston Braves. They ran him out of Boston.
Howard fouls one straight back, evens the count up. 2-2, 2 down.
I think the story goes in Boston, he got hit by a cab driver. He was hit by a cab, and the writer one of the writers in Boston said we should give the cab driver the MVP award for injury, Casey Stengel.
Gee, that's hard. I heard about those Boston writers, but that's a little vicious.
I believe it was the same guy that used to be all over Ted Williams.
Well, he couldn't have been too smart.
No. The Colonel, I believe his name was. Ralph Kiner would know.
2-2. Another breaking ball inside to Howard Johnson. Full count on a sweltering day at Shea Stadium. Shame we can't be like some of the guys in the production booth in that air-conditioned center of theirs. How you doing down there, guys? Okay. Line drive, foul.
It's amazing what waiting on a ball has done for Howard Johnson. We see him get jammed a little bit more this year. Not very often, but a little bit more. He's waiting on the ball extremely well. And there are the guys in the scoreboard enjoying themselves, probably being iced down. They run the Diamond Vision board here at Shea Stadium.
You got one window up. Howard Johnson takes a walk. Perfect on the day. Base hit, a walk, followed by a walk.
Right fielder, Darryl Strawberry.
Brings up Darryl Strawberry, who really hit in the tough luck his last time up. Base is full. Line drive to the shortstop. And it was really good base running on the part of the Mets that it wasn't a double play. He did single his first time up. There goes Howard Johnson. The ball's taken. Junior Ortiz can't get it out of his glove. Stolen base, Howard Johnson. Number 24.
Well, a lot of times when you're catching, you know a guy has good speed, and when he's running, you get over anxious, and sometimes you don't get a good grip on the ball. Watch Junior Ortiz. He's unable to get a good grip on the ball and wisely did not throw it. You try to get a hold of a seam. You'd like to get it across the wide seams to get the true carry, but you won't do that 100% of the time. So you try to get a hold of a seam where you can get somewhat of a true carry. If you don't get a hold of a seam, you're going to throw a sinker or a sailor to second base.
0-1 to Strawberry. Big swing and a miss. Really took a hack at that.
Good rip right here. Side angle. Ball looked like it was by him.
Got it in on him a little bit.
Past couple days, it seems like Darryl a little bit tardy swinging the bat.
Well, he curls that bat so much in front of him. He's got a long way to go to get it back into the strike, into the hitting zone. Watch the bat. In fouled straight back, 0-2.
Again, that ball was by him. And Rusty's talking about the curl of the bat. Not only the curl of the bat, how about the kick, the high kick, the curl of the bat behind his head. Here it comes. It's a long swing, a fast bat, but if it slows down just a tad, you got a problem on a day like today. But he might get the head of the bat out in front right now.
Well, it's 0-2. Now to see a waste pitch outside here. There it is, a curveball, but he doesn't waste it because he gets Strawberry to swing at it. Good pitch by Neil Heaton. Ends this inning. Pirates still ahead 5-4 after 4 innings. at Shea. Barry Bonds leading it off for the Pirates. They lead this game 5-4. We're in the top of the 5th inning. Bonds singled his first time up, drove in a couple of runs, and he popped up kind of in between first and second. Magadan and Jeffries colliding, but Magadan holding on. Takes a strike on the outside corner. It'll be a very hot R.J. Reynolds and Junior Ortiz to follow. Line drive right to Howard Johnson. 1 out.
It's a hang with him. Hit the ball right on the button, and Hojo had time to play it on the side, catch the ball exactly where he wanted to catch it, right above the pocket. Sometimes it's a reaction position. You end up catching it right in the pocket, which you can get a bone bruise from, but Howard Johnson was able to position the glove and catch that ball right above the pocket.
R.J. Reynolds, 3-run home run his first time up, singled in the 3rd. Off-speed pitch, strike 1.
You know, Rusty, looking back at the home run R.J. Reynolds hit in the 1st inning, it was a hanging curveball, and all he did was kind of flick the bat at the ball. Didn't overswing.
That's a major key in hitting. R.J. Reynolds really hot, 7 for 17 with 9 RBIs in the Los Angeles series. That was just previous to here. They played 6 games in 4 days.
Keep in mind, he was traded from the Dodgers to the Pirates.
He liked that.
Yes, he did. He said he gets keyed up against the Dodgers.
You always feel great when you burn your old ball club. Takes a strike on the outside corner, ball and 2 strikes. Pirates 14.5 games out coming into this series, or this game today with the Mets. I think they're going to be tough toward the finish. Another off-speed pitch, this one outside, 2-2. Usually R.J. Reynolds a better hitter left-handed than right-handed this season, hitting about 40 points higher from the right side of the plate. Way outside that time, full count. In fact, 56 points higher coming into this game. Ground ball to Jeffries, big hop, throw to first, 2 down. Playing up an old favorite of a lot of people in the Met organization, Junior Ortiz. He is some character. It's hard to play a game against them without smiling when you think of Junior. Bunts. Innes bounces right on it. Easy play to first. Ortiz with 2 outs tries a bad play with that bunt, but it's a nice easy inning for Innes. After 4.5 innings on the TWA scoreboard, it's Pittsburgh 5, New York 4. Kevin McReynolds to lead it off. Bottom of the 5th inning. Very hot day out at Shea. A lot of short sleeve shirts here. Actually, it really makes it kind of difficult for both the infielders and the outfielders to see the ball off the bat. Haven't seen too many bad reactions today, though. It's in these day games that are so hot where it is difficult to pick that white ball up with the background of all those white shirts. McReynolds has popped up to the first baseman, flown out to center. In fact, he flew out to center with the bases loaded, kind of shallow to center. The runner could not try to advance. Ball inside. You know, the Mets did score 4 runs in that inning with men on 2nd and 3rd and less than 2 outs twice. They did not get the run in. Can't fault Strawberry, hit a shot. But it's just been that kind of year in those situations for the Mets. Met bullpen active right now. Hard ground ball by third. This is going to be for extra bases. Rounding the base Here's the throw to second, and he's safe for the double.
Second baseman, Greg Jeffries.
Oh, Kevin McReynolds hammering the ball down the left field line, as Rusty once said. This is Kevin's play right here, and Barry Bonds unable to get McReynolds at second base. Watch him turn. That's why they like those right-handers out there in left field. You have to turn completely around, and McReynolds having to play in front of him just cruised into second base with a stand-up double.
Pretty good effort by Barry Bonds. Nobody out, a man on second. Mets run down. Jeffries up. Does take a hard shot the opposite way. Looking down at Sam Palazzo. Sammy just clapping away, say, do your job, pal. David West warming in the bullpen. McReynolds at second. Another really good swing, fouled straight back. When you're in that situation, staying on top of the ball when you're hitting is really important. He took two really good aggressive swings, but he was underneath both pitches.
I know the philosophy in baseball we talked about is going the other way in this situation.
Or back through the middle. I mean, that was both those swings were good aggressive swings.
Nobody out. It wouldn't bother me if he took a shot using the whole field to try to drive that runner in. I know you don't agree with that, and I know baseball dogma for years has been take a shot the other way, but with nobody out.
Ground ball, Mackey Sasser really hot for the Mets. Kevin Elster really hot for the Mets behind Jeffries.
They can also take a shot at driving him in too.
Thanks.
A single will drive him in from second base.
Well,
but I know what you mean. For years, it's been the theory in baseball to hit the ball the other way, advance the runner.
Not like, giving yourself up though. He didn't try to do that.
No, but a guy like this, I would let him use the whole field.
Way inside, a ball and 2 strikes. I'm not going to go into our heated argument on that again.
It used to be where the third and fourth hitter wouldn't give himself up as readily as they do today, though.
Well, Jeffries did not try to give himself up, and I thought that was good. But he did take 2 really good shots hard back through the middle or toward right center. Neil Heaton stepping off the rubber. With nobody out, McReynolds has to also make sure that he does not get caught on a line drive. Way behind Jeffries and hits him. He's limping pretty heavily going down to first base. Neil Heaton trying to come in extremely hard. Buries Jeffries.
A lot of times when you're trying to pitch a guy inside because you know he's trying to take a shot the other way, you get too far inside, and right there you hit Greg Jeffries. Take a look at that pitch again. Fastball way inside and hit him in the muscle area, so he should be all right. It stings more than anything.
That's the 5th hit batter this year for Neil Heaton. Jeffries still favoring that leg down there. Mackey Sasser up, nobody out, turns to bunt. Gets it down to third base, good bunt. Here comes Bonilla to throw to first. He's out, but a good sacrifice bunt by Mackey Sasser.
Very good bunt by the Met catcher, Mackey Sasser, advancing the runners to second and third. Here he squares, and it looked like Bonilla wanted to go back to third base, and of course the bunt brought him in, and he had to make the play, so a sacrifice for Mackey Sasser.
Pirates haven't had the rotation play very often. A lot of clubs play just very conservatively. Other clubs have 3 or 4 different plays that they have numbers for or signs for. The rotation play being when the third baseman comes in, the shortstop goes to third. They hope the guy lays the ball down. Everybody's charging. They're trying to get the lead runner. So we have men on second and third, 1 out, and Kevin Elster at the plate. Ball inside. First base is open, and Mark Carrion has come out in the on-deck circle to bat for Jeff Innes. Crowd getting into it again. A ball up. Kevin Elster with 2 hits in this game. Neil Heaton pitching him very tough. Knows he has that open base at first.
Got to face Mark Carrion after he puts Elster on first base.
With David West throwing down on the bullpen right now. They were a little bit undecided as to who was going to be the starter on Saturday. Line drive. It breaks the bat. It's going to score both runs. Kevin Elster going into second base with a 2 RBI double. Mets ahead 6-5.
Well, what a comeback here for the Mets, and boy, is Kevin Elster ever hot. A bullet right down the third baseline. Barry Bonds going over, but he had no play on anybody. A double for Elster, 2 RBIs, but the only bad feature is Kevin Elster's been very hot, and I'm sure it's been with that bat.
That bat kind of exploded. The ball really jumped off the bat. That was a weird one. Didn't appear to jam him that much. That bat kind of shattered. Mark Carrion up. 1 out. Takes a ball inside and down. Action in the Pirate bullpen. There's just been a lot of action in this ball game. Mets 6 runs, 8 hits, no errors. Pirates 5 runs, 6 hits, 1 error. Line drive, base hit up the middle. They're going to hold up Elster. He runs through the hold, and he's going to be out at the plate. Kevin Elster ran right through the hold of Sammy Palazzo and gets thrown out. Carrion on the second. 2 men out.
Well, Sammy has told me guys will run through his sign. I said, do you get upset? He said, only if they get caught. And here's Cangelosi, good strong throw. Good velocity, right to Junior Ortiz in plenty of time, and John Kibler in great position to call it. Nice try by Kevin Elster with the hand, but when you go through the stop sign, you gotta make it.
Another big pinch hit by Mark Carrion. Close play.
Kevin's all keyed up, and it looked like he was safe, but he's out. He's in the dugout as an out. Kevin all keyed up with 3 hits in his game.
They're going to walk Samuel. That's the 8th hit in 19 appearances, pinch hitting for Mark Carrion. What a year he's having coming off the bench. There's the 4th ball. Heaton's going to now face Magadan. Mark Carrion at second. Doug Bear warming in the Pirate bullpen. What a game.
It's that karma.
I think you can take that karma home with you. It's the players.
What is that karma anyways?
Used to pitch for the Phillies, right? Doug Carmen. 2 down to Magadan. Ball outside. Let's come back and win this ball game. They can gain a half game on Montreal. Montreal not playing. Infield very deep, trying to knock the ball down and keep it in the infield. Gives the base runners a chance to get a really good lead. Just catching the outside corner. 2 balls and a strike. Actually, the scoreboard has 2-0. It might be 1-1. Magadan fouls it straight back. With 2 outs and 2 strikes, the base runners have the freedom. If they see the ball is going to be a strike, they see Magadan starting to swing at the ball, they can get a great jump on the bases. It's one of the things you're supposed to practice in your batting practice every day. The 10-game losing streak is over for Cincinnati. They've defeated San Diego 6-1. So Pete Rose and the boys will sleep better tonight. Ground ball tapped to third. In comes Bonilla. Hard throw. Got him. But they don't get the Mets because they scored twice here in the bottom of the 5th inning. And they now lead the Pittsburgh Pirates 6-5.
Well, new pitcher Dave West, he's 0-2, 6.45 ERA, no saves. And the rest of the story is 9 games, 22 in the 3rd innings pitched, 22 hits, 12 base on balls, 18 strikeouts.
He's going to face Rafael Belliard. Strike 1. Pirates are going to go to their bench too. Scott Little, who just replaced Gary Reedus on the roster. Reedus hit in the face by a pitch by Cruz from Los Angeles in that last series. Swing and a miss, strike 2. So Scott Little is going to bounce right into the lineup. There he is. No balls, 2 strikes. Way outside. Mets 4.5 games out. Chicago 3.5 out. A ball down, 2-2.
It's been well documented the troubles that Dave West had in his 2 starts. He got tattooed. I'm sure Davey Johnson would love to get a good outing out of Dave West right now. Maybe build up his confidence.
Fouled straight back. Still 2-2.
On the other side of the coin, if he gets a bad outing out of him, he won't be able to find his confidence.
He's pitched very well out of the bullpen. El Stottlemyre, before the game on the pre-game show, said that in working with him down in the bullpen, he's had his fastball moving a lot of tail on it. Off-speed pitch grounded. In comes Elster. Throw. Out. Belliard at first.
He plays about as relaxed a shortstop as anybody in baseball.
Smooth.
Smooth and confident. It's a pleasure to watch this guy play defense. Now he's starting to hit the ball also. Look at this. Got you all the way. In fact, got you easily.
Not even close.
He can do that. He also has a strong throwing arm. He can go in the hole to his right, to his left. A fine defensive shortstop. I'm sure it's making Davey Johnson a lot happier that he's swinging the bat, so he's kind of forcing Davey to keep him in the lineup. Of course, it's going to be a dilemma for a Dave Magadan.
Well, the best way to speak is with your bat and with your glove, and that's what Elster's doing now. Scott Little hit .274 in Buffalo this year. Swings and a miss. 0-1.
Just tuned in. Keith Hernandez did pinch hit in the 3rd inning, hit a bullet to left field, but did not come up with a base hit. Cannot play because he can't really cut the corners.
Little heat on the Mets in the papers today. Because of that, we'll explain in a second. Ball fouled off, out of play down the first base line. With the releasing of Lee Mazzilli, Keith Hernandez cannot play for another 5 days to a week, which is what they expect. A lot of people felt the Mets might have made a better move. Put Hernandez on a disabled list. Left Mazzilli to play. It was inevitable that that was going to eventually happen, though. Little takes a ball, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Top of the 6th inning. Mets ahead 6-5. Ball way inside, 2-2. Left-hander throwing in the Pirate bullpen. David West, a left-hander trying to find himself coming out of the Met bullpen. Fly ball to left field. McReynolds is there. 2 down.
In his last outing, in his last start, you could see the frustration on this guy's face, Dave West.
The left-hander throwing in the bullpen for Pittsburgh is Bob Kipper. He is taking some tosses. He'll be in there. John Cangelosi, a base hit, fly out to right, and a walk. Way outside by West.
Toughest thing for a guy like Dave West, he's so big, is to stay mechanically sound. It helps if you have a quiet windup, which he does.
That's a good statement, Fran. He does have kind of a quiet windup, not a big thing like Langston, who really has a lot of leg, kick, and movement.
Yeah, Dave's so big. That's a problem for a big, tall pitcher.
Hard ground ball, but foul.
Speaking of Langston, he has the quickest leg I've seen in the league.
That is unbelievable.
Yeah, powerful leg.
Nice play by the ball girl.
Now here's the quiet delivery. Easy. You got to keep shoulder to hips in sync. And it's tough when you're 6'6".
There's another ball fouled off. 2-2. He does have that little kind of a jerky motion with his body just as he's getting ready to come to the plate.
The smoother you are, no matter what you do in baseball, the better off you are. For example, Kevin McReynolds is very smooth in everything he does. Kevin Elster, Keith Hernandez. If you're herky-jerky, you can run into mechanical problems.
Were you a smooth player, Fran?
Nah.
Neither was I. Ground ball to Howard Johnson. He's up with it. Throw to first. He's got him. Good inning for David West. After 5.5, the Mets lead 6-5.
And new pitcher, Bob Kipper, 2-3, 2.71 ERA, 2 saves, and the rest. 7 games, 66 in the 3rd innings pitched, 45 hits, 27 base on balls, and 47 Ks.
He's going to face the meat of the Mets order. Howard Johnson, Darryl Strawberry, and Kevin McReynolds.
I'll tell you, you get some good grub here at Shea Stadium.
Tell you what.
That ice crew's outstanding. Hot dogs.
Sounds cold and good.
Boy, it does.
There's a happy face here at Shea.
Of course, after the game, a lot of fans will probably go down to 5th Avenue to Rusty's, a little dinner.
They should.
That's right. Relaxation.
Howard perfect on the day. Has a hit and 2 walks. Takes a ball. The bullpen of the Pirates really has struggled this year. Bill Landrum being the one saving grace. They lost their best reliever, and Jim Gott to arm problems. Howard Johnson swings at a bad pitch, 1-1. Landrum coming in and doing a fine job for them. Their bullpen 8 wins and 17 losses.
It's funny, you look at the bullpens now, and in order to get a real stopper out of the bullpen, you got to have a guy that can blow the ball to the plate. Or he better have a great trick pitch like the split finger fastball. You look at the Mets bullpen, Randy Myers, Rick Aguilera, good heaters out of the pen, can get the key strikeout.
Swing and a miss by Howard. A ball and 2 strikes.
Jim Gott did it for the Pirates last year. That relief pitching certainly is complicated hitting. Remember when you could face a guy for 4 at-bats?
And leave that starter in too long. You know the last at least time or two at the plate you're going to be facing someone who is not at his best, especially on a day like today. Hot. Way inside. 2-2.
First team that I can remember. Well, I guess Raleigh Fingers might have preceded Goose Gossett, but I remember when the White Sox put the Goose and Terry Forster in the bullpen.
I was there.
They would throw.
I was in the American League.
Oh, they throw Wilbur Wood at you for 6 innings, and here comes Goose or Forster.
Actually, Paul Richards took over that club, I believe, in 1976, and made them both starters. Howard. They asked first base umpire Jerry Lane. He says no swing, full count. Yeah, Paul Richards put him in the bullpen. I mean, he took him out of the bullpen and started him, and then he would use him out of the bullpen in between starts. They both faded in June.
That's right. Goose Gossett came up with a bad arm.
Paul Richards known for probably managing Baltimore more than any other club. He had all those great young pitchers. See if we can think of who those guys were. Howard Johnson way foul. Steve Barber, Milt Pappas. Was it Chuck Estrada? They had some great young arms, and they used to count the pitches, and after a certain number of pitches they were out of the game. The Mets will be doing that with Dwight Gooden when he comes back.
Saw Dwight Gooden going out the door today to jog out in the street.
Trying hard to stay in as good a shape as he can without pitching. 3-2. Little check swing, fouled out of play.
Well, that was a good pitch right there. Off speed, had Howard Johnson way outside. Extra base hit leaders: Kevin Mitchell, Giants; Howard Johnson, Mets; Will Clark, Giants; Barry Bonds, Pirates; Robbie Thompson, Giants; Darryl Strawberry, Mets; and Bobby Bonilla, Pirates.
3 teams, all 7 guys. Howard Johnson, his 3rd straight walk. First walk by Bob Kipper.
Right fielder.
The Mets have the leadoff runner on with Darryl Strawberry coming up. Darryl singled, lined out with the bases loaded, and struck out. Toss to first base. I can remember an opening day. Bob Kipper got the opening day assignment. Darryl Strawberry hit a 3-run home run off Kipper.
You see Kipper's move to first base right there, all arms and legs. Left-handers can get away with it.
All inside to Strawberry.
Right-hander has to be quick to the plate, quick to first base. Left-hander, he's better off with a herky-jerky motion and a lot of arms and legs with a runner on first.
Johnson back to first. Howard already has a stolen base in this game, number 24. Howard vying for that 30-30 club again. Outside chance at the bigger numbers. Popped up. Bonilla coming over by the dugout. He's got room. Strawberry's out.
Darryl having some tough rips at left-handers today.
Brings up Kevin McReynolds, who doubled and scored his last time up. 1 for 3 on the day. Throw to first base. Jose Aquindo, who had that 23-game hitting streak going, had it broken yesterday. Congratulations to the ex-Met. He really had that's the top hit streak of the year so far. Another toss to first.
Keep in mind, Howard Johnson has a stolen base. He would like to pick up another one. I mentioned Jose Akendo. Fine. He's turned into a fine player with the Cardinals.
There goes Howard. Here's the throw by Junior Ortiz. Howard slides safe. Number 25 for Howard Johnson.
Howard Johnson now with 25 home runs and 25 stolen bases. Just outran the baseball. Something you take for granted when you watch Howard Johnson is his speed. He has real good speed. A good throw by Junior Ortiz, but Hojo just outruns the ball. What a year, Howard Johnson.
1 ball, no strikes, 1 out. Mets ahead 6-5. We're in the bottom of the 6th inning. Bob Kipper facing Kevin McReynolds. Little check swing tapper. Here comes Bonilla. Here's the throw into third. It gets by the first baseman. Mets might have a chance to score a run here. Here comes Howard Johnson to the plate. McReynolds to third. Everybody's safe. 7-5 Mets.
Well, a stolen base by Howard Johnson, and he scores a run. Bobby Bonilla really struggling defensively. On the run, he throws the ball, bounces the ball by King. He almost bobbled the ball. He had a snow cone in his glove when he caught the ball. Then he threw the ball by the first baseman, and Howard Johnson going all the way around. Now watch the ball bounce by King.
Is a deep fly ball to right field. This is going to score McReynolds. Here comes the throw from Marjorie Reynolds. It's no chance. And the Mets now lead 8-5.
And now, once again, here's that play. Bobby Bonilla almost dropped the ball there, then bounced the ball by the first baseman. He hustles all the way to third base. So big, you got to applaud Kevin McReynolds for hustling all the way to third base. That's why he scored on a sacrifice fly. On that play, Howard Johnson scored after stealing second base. So the Mets are now stealing runs, hustling runs.
Mackey Sasser up, takes a ball. That's the 35th RBI for Greg Jeffries. Doing his job, getting that run in. Fouled straight back, 1-1.
How about your feelings inside? If you're a manager, your team jumps out in front 5-0 in the top of the first. You're saying this is going to be a good day.
Well,
Good day.
it's happened to the Mets before. Some other clubs have come back on them. This is a big comeback for New York. They have had 25 of 51 of their wins be come from behind wins in the first place. This is a big one. Of course, we're in the bottom of the 6th. There's a lot of baseball to be played here. 2-2 on Sasser. Mackey, a swing and a miss, strike 3. Kipper gets Sasser, but he doesn't get the Mets. They score 2 runs anyway.
And the first pitch is high for ball 1. Fran told me to say that.
Naturally.
Jose Lean, the batter, and David West, the pitcher, and Lean with one down the left field line. He makes the turn at first and decides to hold there as Elster, as the throw goes by Elster and into second base. McReynolds hustling over there and stopping Jose Lean, who has good speed at first.
Well, everybody in the league is starting to realize how outstanding McReynolds is on this play.
Look where he comes from.
He comes hard and quick, picks that ball up. Pirates down by 3 runs now. They have to be a little bit conservative on the bases. Tell you what, I think it'd have been out.
First hit given up by West, and that'll bring up Jeff King. And Lean running with a pitch. The throw by Sasser offline, and Lean has a stolen base.
That's number 10 for Jose Lean. He has not been thrown out this year. As we've said many times, it doesn't make any difference where you're 3 runs up or 3 runs down. It could be 5. In Major Leagues now, people run the bases. Quick release that time by Sasser, but the throw's on the wrong side of the base. Had he made a good throw, it would have been tough to get Lean anyway.
Well, the Pirates' 5th in stolen bases now have 95. That's their game plan. And there's a hard smash. Elster backhands it. Good play. Holds the runner. And the throw to first for the out. And Jeff King is out. He had single his first time up. He's now 1 for 3.
Third baseman, Bobby Bonilla.
Well hit ball by Jeff King, but turned into an out by Elster. Pirates have just 52 home runs. They're 10th in the National League in home runs. And 34 of their 52 home runs have been solo home runs. That'll bring up Bobby Bonilla, who is 0 for 2, walked intentionally in the first. Pirates getting 5 runs in the first inning off the starting pitcher Sid Fernandez. And a good pickup by Sasser. Ball 1. Big blow in that first inning. R.J. Reynolds with a 3-run home run, his 10th of the year and number 34 in his major league career. And he has been a hot batter. Rusty pointed out earlier that he just tore up the Dodgers in the previous series. He came to the Pirates from the Dodgers. And Bonilla looks away, and it's 2-0. There is Barry Bonds, the on-deck batter. Mets leading 8-5. And if they can hold on and win this ball game, it will be the biggest margin that they have come back from. They had come back in previous games from a 3-run deficit.
You saw Jeffries coming in to talk to West. You have to remember they were roomies for 3 years. Jeffries feeling a little more at ease to do that.
And he picks up a swinging strike as Bonilla goes for the downs.
You see them kind of bantering back and forth at each other. Jeffries congratulating him on that strike.
Bonilla with 12 home runs on the year. Second to Barry Bonds, who has 14, and that's ball 3, and it's 3-1. And a walk here would put the tying run at the plate. No action in the bullpen for the Mets. Jeffries at second base. And the base runner there, Jose Lean. 3-1 pitch hit to the shortstop. A play at third. Lane runs into the play, and he's in a rundown. And the throw is not in time as it got to Jeffries just a shade late. So instead of an out, the Mets have runners at first and second, and the tying run is at the plate for the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Let's take a look at that. Bad base running play by Jose Lean. Elster catches him, throws it to Howard Johnson. They got him in the rundown. Then Howard gets it a little bit late to Jeffries, who's coming toward him. And Jose Lean dives around Jeffries, and good call by Jerry Davis at second base. Let's take another look at this. They got him dead to rights. Howard, a couple of fakes, then a little toss, but it's late. Not a good play by the Mets.
So a fielder's choice, allowing the runner to get on and bring the tying run to the plate. And Barry Bonds a hard swing and a miss at strike 1. He leads the club in home runs with 14. Mets now have action in their bullpen. Bonds with a single in the first to drive in 2 runs. Rick Aguilera and Don Ossie throwing in the bullpen. Ossie to the left of your screen. 1 strike pitch, a ball, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike.
The important runner, they're all important, but the tying runners at the plate, the outfielders have to bear that in mind when they pick up the ball, if there is a hit or a fly ball.
And a good curveball, but called a ball, and it's 2 balls and 1 strike. Biggest crowd of the series here today, 39,447 paid, a total of 40,908. Last day in this homestand for the Mets, 11-game homestand. And it goes to ball 3 and 3-1 as West gets wild. Bonds with 79 career home runs in his 4th year in the major leagues.
That attendance, Ralph, brings the Mets to 1,850,000. Mets still drawing fans all the time.
And it's ball 4, and now the go-ahead run is at the plate as West walks Bonds and the base is loaded.
Right fielder, R.J.
He donated that to the New York Mets for their gallery. And now the first pitch by Don Ossie to R.J. Reynolds, and it's ball one. R.J. has been red hot. First game that he has appeared in this series, and there's ball two. Bases loaded, nowhere to put him. Mets leading by 3. We're in the top of the 7th with 1 man out.
Now in this situation, I would let R.J. Reynolds swing the bat, Ralph. A lot of times people talk about being conservative when you have a relief pitcher coming in who hasn't thrown a strike, but as hot as Reynolds has been, you got to let him use the bat.
In that Dodgers series, he was 7 for 17, hitting .412 with 1 home run and 9 runs batted in. And there's ball 3. And now he takes. He's in deep trouble. Not R.J. Reynolds, but Don Ossie.
Would you have him take?
I definitely would have him
That a
take.
baby. We're in accord here. I like it.
Finally. And it's ball 4, so a run is forced in as Ossie fails to throw a strike, and the Mets lead now down to 8-6. Sixth walk for the Pirates in this game. They have a total of 7 hits. And now the time run moves to second base. The go-ahead run at first. And it's going to be Andy Van Slyke as the pinch. With 25 home runs, 100 RBIs, 101 runs scored with 30 stolen bases in 154 games.
Did all that. He was not real successful against the left-handers.
Andy this year hitting .278 against left-hand pitching with no home runs. And he's had only 3 home runs this year as compared to 25 last year. So the time run at second, the go-ahead run at first, 1 out. We're in the top of the 7th inning in a wild ball game. And it's strike 1.
It's kind of gotten a little gray out here at Shea. Almost like it's cooled down a tad. They have said they could get an afternoon thunder shower.
It's all the way down to 94.
Yeah, it's way down there now. We're cooling off up here.
1 strike to count to Andy Van Slyke, and Myers back with a fastball for ball 1. Andy Van Slyke from Utica, New York, about 30 miles away from Cooperstown, where the Baseball Hall of Fame is. And the 1-1 pitch, and it's fouled off. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Whitey Herzog said facetiously to Andy Van Slyke when he played for the Cardinals that the fact that he was born and lived in Utica, and that was the closest he was going to get to the Hall of Fame in his lifetime. But since then, he has become a terrific ball player.
Injuries have really hurt him through the beginning of this season.
Bobby Bonilla, the runner at third base. Barry Bonds at second, and R.J. Reynolds at first. And the pitch, a good play by Sasser as he takes it out of the dirt. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Speaking of Sasser, a couple of RBIs in this game. Big single in the 3rd inning. Doing everything he can to have Davey Johnson keep him in that lineup.
Two and 2 the count, and the pitch back, a fastball, and Randy gets the swinging strike. Randy Myers with a 91-mile-an-hour fastball to strike out Van Slyke, and now the scheduled batter is Rafael Belliard.
There you see that pitch by Myers, just an overmatch. Way behind that ball. Glenn Wilson's going to come up and pinch hit.
That strikeout, the first by Mets pitchers in this game. Sid Fernandez went 3 innings, did not strike out a batter, was charged with 5 runs on 6 hits. Jeff Ennis went 2, gave up no hits and no runs in the first 2 games of this series. Was 1 for 7. Ennis
Really,
strike 1.
really took a big swing at that ball. He does have 4 hits and 10 at bats as a pinch hitter and 5 RBIs. He's had some experience in this area.
He has driven in more runs against the Mets than any other club in the National League. He spent some time in the American. 1 strike count and strike 2. Wilson would not even be here. He was traded to Houston for Alan Ashby earlier in the year. But Ashby turned the deal down and retired from baseball, so the deal was voided. Probably the best deal the Pirates made this year. The 2-strike pitch, and it's outside for a ball. 1 ball, 2 strikes. All the experts couldn't understand the deal when it was made.
And the wind has turned completely around in this stadium. The flags are now blowing toward right field.
1 ball, 2 strikes, and a foul ball back out of play.
As is the norm here in Shea Stadium. You got to look out at that flag pretty often to understand what's going down. 2 innings ago, it was blowing hard in just the opposite direction. And because of that, you hear these planes taking off over the stadium.
1-2, bases loaded. Mets leading 8-6. 2 men away. Top of the 7th inning. The Mets coming back from a 5-run deficit. And the pitch, high for ball 2. So it goes to 2-2, and this is a big pitch coming up. The 2-2 pitch. If he goes to 3-2, the runners will be running on that delivery. Here they have to hold. So at 2-2, the pitch fouled down the right side out of play, and we'll do it all over again.
Randy Myers, you see him looking at his bat to see if it's broke. Randy got in on him on that pitch.
So 2-2, and the delivery back, a fastball fouled off, and Glenn Wilson behind the last 2 pitches, but he got a piece of it to stay alive. Pirates winning the first 2 games of this series. The last time they won back-to-back games against the Mets was in 1984. Davey Johnson was looking at a 5-0 deficit after the first inning. The Mets got 4 unearned runs in the 3rd, and then took the lead with 2 in the 5th and added on 2 more in the 6th. But now the Pirates back with 1 and the bases loaded. There's the story. But the story not completed, as Randy Myers with a 2-2 count. Still a chapter left, and now it goes to 3-2. Close pitch, but called a ball, and it's a full count. The runners will be going with the windup.
Take a look at that pitch. Just inside.
Mets have already walked 1 run in this inning. That was Don Ossie working with the bases loaded. The runners go, and the pitch is swung on and fouled back out of play. Borderline pitch there, might have been ball 4.
Glenn Wilson at the plate is thinking, I'm going to have to swing the bat. I don't want to get called out on anything close. The hitter's got to be aggressive, so does the pitcher. You feel a little more comfortable when you have a veteran umpire like John Kibler behind the plate. He has a pretty consistent strike zone, but you still don't want to take anything that's close.
So with the bases loaded, the runners start their engines. And Randy Myers with his second 3-2 pitch. And it's ball 4. Another run has walked in, and the Pirates now just trailing by 1. So 3 walks in the inning. A botched up rundown play where the Mets did not pick up an out, and the Pirates have 2.
See this pitch, it's up and away, just out of the strike zone.
And he has been a hot batter. And the first pitch hit down the right field line. It is curving into fair territory, and 1 run scores, 2 run score, 3 run score. Bell goes to third, and the Pirates take the lead. Shea Bell with his first RBIs of the year as he bloops a 3-base hit down the right field line, and the Pirates take the lead 10-8.
Randy makes a good pitch here. Jams him a little bit. Bell flares it to right. It's going to be just fair. Ball goes against the fence. Strawberry tries to get it. It gets by him. Runners are going all the time. You see Reynolds crossing the plate. Here's Wilson. It's a 3-run triple for Bell.
So the Pirates, after leading 5-0, now lead by a score of 10-8. A runner at third base, still 2 men out, and the 9th batter to bat in this inning, John Cangelosi. Cangelosi 1 for 3 with a walk, and he takes the strike. Two runs forced in by bases loaded walks, and then the base clearing triple by Jay Bell. And the Pirates with 5 runs in the 7th, their second 5-run inning in this game. 1 ball, 1 strike to Cangelosi, and the pitch back is grounded to third. A great play by Howard Johnson. The throw to first base in time, and the Mets finally get the 3rd out. So in the inning, 5 runs on just 3 hits. 1 man left on base, and the score at the end of 6.5 innings. The Pittsburgh Pirates 10, the New York Mets 8. And his first batter, Kevin Elster, and he takes a called strike. Bear appeared in the first game of this series, worked 1/3 of an inning. Gave up a base hit to McReynolds, then got Carter to hit into a double play as he pitched to 3 batters. And the fastball fouled back, strike 2. Kevin Elster 3 for 3 in the game today with 2 RBIs on a double in the 5th inning. That put the Mets in front by a score of 6-5. But the Pirates with 5 runs in the top of the 7th, leading 10-8. And the breaking ball gets it. Well, some lightning and thunder now as the threat of rain comes nearer and nearer.
Batting for Randy Myers will be number 1, Mookie.
Now Mookie Wilson will be the pinch hitter for Randy Myers.
Mookie hitting .208 on the season, 4 for 19 with 3 RBIs as a pinch hitter.
Wilson, a switch hitter.
Boy, and that lightning is all around here.
And Bear with a breaking ball for ball 1.
Little mist starting to come down.
There had been a prediction of possible thunder storms in the area, and that pitch is called a strike, so it's 1-1. Jeff Ennis a chance to pick up his first win of the year, loses that chance for the Pirates, scoring 5 runs in the 7th. And a fastball for ball 2, 2 balls and 1 strike. Pitcher of record on the losing side, Don Ossie, who pitched to 1 batter and walked him on 4 pitches. That forced in a run. And Mookie hits it right at the second baseman. over to first for the out, so 2 men away here in the bottom half of the 7th inning.
Center fielder Juan Samuel.
For the Mets, it will be Juan Samuel batting with 2 men out here in the 7th. Samuel with a double in 3 official at-bats. Also was walked intentionally in the 5th inning, when the Mets scored 2 runs to take the lead at 6-5. And he takes a strike. Final game of this homestand, the Mets have won 6 of the 10 games played so far. And it all started with a doubleheader ugly loss to the Houston Astros. They then won 6 in a row, but now have lost 2 in a row to the Pittsburgh Pirates and trail here in the 3rd game of this series. Samuel hitting .244 with 9 home runs. And the breaking ball for ball 2. 2 balls, no strikes.
Mets won 12 of the 18 game against the Pirates in '88. But in '87, the Pirates, as much as anybody, gave the Mets fits toward the end of the season when the Mets were trying to hold on and contest for that championship.
That was after the Mets had won 17 out of 18 from Pittsburgh the year before, and this ball popped up. So a play for Jeff King, the first baseman, and the Mets are retired in order. The score at the end of 7, Pittsburgh 10.
All the fans running for cover. Looks like a mass exodus.
John Kibler is the head of this crew.
It's coming down hard. I'm going to be surprised if he stays with this. He's calling it in.
Says put the tarp on. So before we start the 8th, a rain delay here at Shea. The base hit in the 7th inning to start off a 5-1 rally for the Pittsburgh Pirates to see them regain the lead. They had led 5-0 after 1/2 inning. Mets came back to lead 8-5, and then now 10-8 Pittsburgh as they scored 5 in the 7th when Lean led off with a base hit to left. And the first pitch by Rick Aguilera, a strike call. Rick pitching to his first batter, and he is the 6th pitcher used by Davy Johnson in this game, and his fastball fouled back for strike 2. Aguilera, the losing pitcher in the first game of this series, worked 2 innings in relief and gave up 2 runs as the Mets lost it 4-2. They lost the second game as John Smiley pitched a brilliant ball game by a score of 3-2. And now here they trail by 2 runs with Pittsburgh batting in the top of the 8th inning. 2 strikes the count to Jose Lean. And the count 1 ball, 2 strikes. Lean has had a tough time of late, and that's strike 3 as Aguilera picks up his first batter.
Let's take a look at that pitch. A good fastball by Aguilera. Just beats him. Good location. Swing right through the ball. I think he's been popping the ball about 92 to 95 miles an hour on a very consistent basis lately.
And now Jeff King, the batter, and the first pitch he calls strike. King, his first major league hit off at Rick Aguilera. That was a double down the left field line about a month ago, and he hit his first major league home run off Rick Aguilera in this series. And he grounds this one out to second, handled by Jeffries, and the throw for the out. Let's have Magadan at first, Jeffries at second, Elster at shortstop, and Johnson at third. The outfield, McReynolds in left field, Wilson in center field, Strawberry in right, the catcher, Mackey Sasser. And that'll bring up Bobby Bonilla. Bobby 0 for 3, 1 for 11 in this series. And he takes a fastball, a called strike. Bonilla came into this game with a lifetime batting average against the Mets at .272 with 3 home runs. 33 of his 54 in his major league career. And the split finger fastball, did he swing? Yes, he did, said Harry Gregg, the third base umpire. So it's strike 2.
Here's a look at it. Watch that bat head. Yep, that's a swing. And Harry Gregg calls it. Bonilla always gets a smile on his face when something like that happens.
And he fouls off the next delivery. So the count stays at strike 2. Lifetime batting average of 277. This is his 4th year in the majors. And it's almost a strike. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Cincinnati Reds won their game against San Diego. That stops their 10-game losing streak.
Game in Houston with the Dodgers. We'll get to in a second.
And strike 3. So 1-2-3 inning for Rick Aguilera with 2 strikeouts. And the score at the end is 7 1/2. Will lead it on for the Mets. They need 2 to tie. Bottom of the 8th inning. Magadan in this game 0 for 3 with a walk and a run scored. So Landrum to work, and he misses with his first pitch for ball 1. At the All-Star break, Landrum had been in 26 games with 11 saves and only 1 blown save, and an efficiency rating of 91.7, and a fly ball hit out to right field, and it's put away by R.J. Reynolds. So 1 away, and that'll bring up Howard Johnson.
Third baseman, Howard Johnson.
Mets with an awesome comeback in this game. They've fallen behind again, 10-8. If you're just joining us, Pirates scored 5 in the first, 5 in the 7th.
And Howard Johnson stepping in. He has had a perfect day today, a single and 3 walks. Also 2 stolen bases. And it's on the inside corner, strike 1. Appeared to be a cut fastball, Rusty. Ball moving just a shade. Tough pitch.
Howard Johnson doing all he could do to try to make it look inside, bobbing and weaving.
Landrum was granted his free agency October 15th and signed in January by the Pirates. And a ground ball to the second base side, fielded by Jose Lean, and 2 men away. Mets trailing 10-8, 2 men out, bottom half of the 8th inning, and Darryl Strawberry the batter. Darryl 1 for 4 today, an infield base hit. Strawberry with 2 hits in the series. 2 for 12 and a ground ball to the shortstop, and bobbled there by Jay Bell. The throw to first not in time, and the Mets have the tying run at the plate on the air.
First error in the game for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Firmly hit ball. Comes up maybe a tad. He just really was a little herky-jerky on it. Strawberry, good speed. He's got no chance to get him.
So with Strawberry on first base, the timer at the plate, and Kevin McReynolds a batter. Kevin with a double and 4 at-bats.
Bonilla playing tight to the line at third base, guarding for the extra base hit.
And the first pitch is called a ball. That's ball 1 to McReynolds, who's hitting .274 with 9 home runs, 47 RBIs. He's hit 9 of his 130 home runs against the Pirates. And it's popped up. Back goes Lean. He's run off the play by R.J. Reynolds, and the catch ends the inning. So Bonds batting 5th.
Both managers have seen just about their entire bullpens.
Mets have used 6 pitchers with Aguilera coming in. And the Pirates have used 5, and the first pitcher called strike. Bonds with a single in the first to drive in the first 2 runs of the ball game. He also has walked and scored. That was in the 7th, so he's 1 for 3 in today's action. And it's a line shot to center field. Wilson takes it on the hop, and Bonds with his second hit. First given up by Aguilera.
Right fielder R.J. Reynolds.
Both teams with 9 base hits, but the Pirates leading 10-8, and it has been a sloppy ball game. That brings up R.J. Reynolds. Reynolds with a 3-run home run in the first inning, also a single in the 3rd, and he walked to force in a run in the 7th. And the first pitcher called strike. Reynolds 9 for 20. That's 450 in his last 4 ball games.
Bonds 17 stolen bases.
And a strike call. Strike 2. In his last 4 games, R.J. Reynolds has driven in a total of 13 runs. And he takes high.
He started this game over Glenn Wilson, who's hitting over 300 against left-handed pitching. So that tells you something in itself. He has just been scalding.
Came to the Pirates from the Dodgers. And the split finger fastball grounded foul, so the count will stay at 1-2.
Game in Houston with the Dodgers. Houston ahead 5-4 in the top of the 9th inning. That's been up there a while. Houston at one time had a 3-0 lead on the Dodgers and then a 5-3 lead.
Houston started 2 games back of the Giants, and a fastball swung on a miss, so Reynolds is struck out. And Aguilera now has struck out 3 of his first 5 batters.
Just a good overpowering fastball and a good location to hit. It just was such a strong pitch that it beat Reynolds.
That'll bring up Andy Van Slyke, who was a pinch hitter in the 7th inning. He was struck out by Randy Myers, and that put the Mets within 1 out of getting out of that 7th inning with only 1 run scoring. But then a walk to Wilson by Randy Myers to load up the bases, and then Jay Bell with a triple down the right field line to unload the bases. 2 runs were forced in on bases loaded walks, and then the triple by Jay Bell, and the 5 runs for the Pirates. And it's a strike call to solve the count at 1-1. Mike Lavalier, the scheduled batter after Van Slyke.
Spanky, as he is informally known.
1 ball, 1 strike, and a big swing. 1-2.
I'm a little surprised to see that Bonds is playing this so conservative right now, Ralph. He's a pretty good base stealer.
He's an outstanding base stealer. Possibly wants to give Van Slyke the chance to hit through the hole that is created with the first baseman holding against the runner. And Van Slyke behind the fastball fouls it off. Hitting .242, Andy Van Slyke with only 3 home runs, 27 runs batted in. 25 home runs last year with 100 RBIs and over 100 runs scored. And it's hit hard to right field, a base hit. Strawberry over on the wet grass. Bonds making the turn at second, then holding there, so runners now at first and second with 1 away.
The catcher, number 12.
And that'll bring up Mike Lavalier, who is batting for the first time. Junior Ortiz started as a catcher in this ball game. Lavalier was brought in when Ortiz was taken out for a pinch hitter. Mike 3 for 8 against the Mets in this series, hitting .347 with no home runs, 11 runs batted in. And he takes a fastball. Lavalier came off the DL on July the 4th, and he has been red hot ever since. And the fastball for a ball, 1 ball, 1 strike. Lavalier on the DL the early part of the year, as was Andy Van Slyke and Jim Gott.
And Sid Bream.
And Sid Bream is still on it.
Yep, he just had an operation on his leg, his right knee.
Sid Bream, the starting first baseman under normal conditions. Split finger fastball, and it's 1-2. And a ground ball to the shortstop, fielded by Elster. Jeffries has it. The throw in the dirt and dug out by Magadan, and the double play ends the inning, and we go to the bottom half of the ninth with the Pirates leading by a score of 10-8. And Greg Jeffries 0 for 2 in today's ball game. He was hit by a pitch to get on in the 5th inning and scored. He had scored in the 3rd when he reached on an error, and he drove in a run with a sacrifice fly in the 6th. Bill Landrum on the mound, trying to pick up his 15th save. And the first pitch is called strike. Landrum at one point in his career released by the Chicago Cubs. And he gets his strike call, so it's strike 2. Mets have come from behind 5 times in their last at bat to win ball games this year, and Jeffries just does manage to spoil that pitch. We got rain coming down once again here at Shea. Ground ball toward third. Bonilla has it. The throw to first base is just in time for the out. The Mets have had 5 unearned runs in this ball game as a result of 3 errors by the Pirates. 4 unearned runs in the 3rd on an error by Jose Lean, the second baseman. And they got another unearned run in the 6th on Bonilla's error. And now the batter will be Mackey Sasser. Mackey with a single in 3 official at-bats. And he fouls off the first pitch. Sasser singled in 2 runs in the 3rd with a big 2-out single when the Mets got 4 runs. That single coming after the error by Jose Lean that would have been the final out of the inning. And a ball call, so they count 1 ball and 1 strike. Ground ball back to Landrum, and 2 men away, and the Mets are down to their last out. The batter will be Kevin Elster. Elster 3 for 4 today. Infield base hit in the 2nd, a single to drive in a run in the 3rd, and a double to drive in 2 runs in the 5th. His last time up, he struck out, and he now has hit in 9 consecutive ball games. His personal high for a hitting streak. And this ball has popped up to right, and that will do it. Out in right field, R.J. Reynolds, he puts it away, and the Mets lose a ball game that they trailed in 5-0 and then led by a score of 6-5 and then 8-5. 5 runs in the 7th inning to do the Mets in, and the final score, the Pirates 10 and the Mets 8. Losing pitcher in the ball game was Don Ossie, who faced one batter and walked him with the bases loaded to force in a run. The winning pitcher in the game, with the Pirates scoring 5 runs in the 7th inning, Doug Bear. And the final score, and we'll be back for the wrap-up in just a minute, right after these messages. 10-8 in favor of the Pittsburgh Pirates. Well, the Pirates won it by a score of 10-8, a wild and woolly ball game, as you can imagine. Not too well played by either side, as the Mets got 4 unearned runs in one inning and an unearned run in the other. And Rusty, a tough loss after coming back and taking the lead after being down 5-0 in the first inning.
Well, that's probably the biggest reason why the clubhouse is going to be a little silent right now. They're going to go for a tough 3-game series in Chicago. They have not played well there. The Mets have showed a great resilience to come back every time they seem like their backs are against the wall. It happened in '88 that way. In '89, they still have to prove they can do it. When you look at all the things that can happen in a season, when the season is over, this will be one of the games that they'll reflect back on.
And of course, it was a tough loss. Randy Myers came in the ball game, and he did a terrific job striking out Andy Van Slyke with the bases loaded. He then walked in the runners. He walked Wilson, and then they pinch hit with Jay Bell, who was hitting under 100 and had not had a run batted in all season long. And with the bases loaded, Jay Bell did the Mets in as he came up with that base hit down the right field line that went for 3, and he cleared the bases.
That was really kind of a controversial thing. We're going to take a look at that right now.
This is the Budweiser play of the game as Bell slices it down the line. It's fair by a matter of inches. And it rolls by Strawberry, and 3-run score, and that put the Pittsburgh Pirates up by a score of 10-8. If they had been able to get him out, well, the Mets would have had a lead as he drove in the time runs and also the go-ahead run. So Jay Bell, the Budweiser player of the game.
At that time, Mike LaValliere, more of a veteran and a guy who has really been swinging the bat very well, even against left-handers. Jim Lillian went with Bell, and he got a real lucky break out of it because the ball really jammed him, and he flared it down that left field, the right field line for those 3 RBIs. But the guy that really was a dominant force for the Pirates today was R.J. Reynolds. He had a 3-run home run in the first inning that gave him a big lead. He came back with another single. He walked with the bases loaded in the 7th, and he is going to be our Texaco star of the game today, because he just hit an outstanding day for the Pirates.
And he has been a red-hot batter the last 2 series. And we'll be back with more of the wrap-up in just a moment, right after these messages.
With 15 games against the Cards, Expos, Giants, and more. Travel to Cooperstown with Halls of Fame, a new monthly series. The premiere features inductee Johnny Bench. And USWA Wrestling continues every Wednesday. On SportsChannel Plus, raise the flag for the Soda Olympics Encore. The Pro Boxing Tour hits home Mondays, and the WBL playoffs tip off August 27th. The Mets Pen and Drive and more. August on SportsChannel. A lot to get excited about.
Well, the winning pitcher in the ball game, Bob Kipper, he's now 3-3 in the year. As we mentioned, Dave, Ossie was the losing pitcher in the ball game, and his record now stands at 1-3. And the save for Landrum, he did another great job, his 15th save of the year. And once again, the final score, the Pittsburgh Pirates 10, the New York Mets 8. Remember, the Mets are back on Sports Channel tomorrow afternoon at 2:50.